At CBS, we had been contacted by the CIA. As a matter of fact, by the time I became the head of the whole news and public affairs operation in 1954, ships had been established, and I was told about them and asked if I'd carry on with them.
Do you have any people being paid by the CIA who are contributing to the national news services, AP and UPI?
Well, again, I think we're getting into the kind of detail, Mr. Chairman, that I'd prefer to handle in executive session.
I think it was entirely in order for our correspondents at that time to make use of CIA agent chiefs of station and other members of the executive staff of CIA as sources of information which were useful in their assessments of world conditions.
Would you say that continues today?
Well, I would think probably for a reporter it would continue today, but because of all of the revelations of the period of the 1970s, it seems to me that a reporter's got to be much more circumspect in doing it now, or he runs the risk of at least being looked at with considerable disfavor by the public. I think you've got to be much more careful about it.
Do you have any people being paid by the CIA who are contributing to a major circulation American journal?
We do have people who submit pieces to American journals.
Do you have any people paid by the CIA who are working for television networks?
This, I think, gets into the kind of getting into the details, Mr. Chairman, that I'd like to get into in executive session.
Morgan Freeman, and what you see is not real. Well, at least in contemporary terms, it is not. What if I were to tell you that I am not even a human being? Would you believe me? What is your perception of reality? Is it the ability to capture, process, and make sense of the information our senses receive? If you can see, hear, taste, or smell something, does that make it real? Or is it simply the ability to feel? I would like to welcome you to the era of synthetic reality. Now,
After a 33-hour manhunt, the patsy in the public execution of Charlie Kirk has been apprehended. Now, before we dive into the obvious Masonic 33 ritual marker in all occult rituals, the name, geography, and date are extremely important to the mechanics of the ritual. As you will soon see, the Charlie Kirk Masonic ritual was no different. Let's break it down, because there is a lot to get into. Charlie Kirk's full name is Charles James Kirk. First and foremost, let's focus on the first and last names. Charles Kirk. Charles comes from the Germanic Karl, which means free man. This is in contrast to bondsman, serf, or slave. Kirk comes from the Old Norse Kirkja, meaning church. So Charles Kirk literally means Church of the Free Man, or Assembly or House of the Free Man. That etymology is pretty loaded, archetypical, if you will. In ritual logic, the name is chosen or highlighted for ritual resonance. These rituals are meticulously planned. Everything is done by the letter, done by the numbers. Charlie's name encodes an extremely important archetype in this day and age, a gathering place of those who are not enslaved. Historically, free men were those not bound to feudal lords, a symbol of sovereignty. A church of the free man suggests a sanctuary of independence, a counterforce to centralized power. This is extremely significant symbolically. If a man with the name meaning Church of the Free Man is ritually slain in public, then so are the old ideas of sovereignty and liberty under God. And in its place, the Church of the Global Citizen, the technocratic Noahide order emerges. The sacrifice of Charlie Kirk encodes the transition from sovereignty to servitude under surveillance. But we are just getting started with the symbolism. Charles means free man. In medieval guilds, only free men, not serfs, could join the craft or Freemasonry. That's why they were called free masons. So there is a definite connection between free man and Freemasons. A lodge could be seen as the Masonic version of a church. Masonry is often described as a church without Christ, a temple or lodge where rituals take place. In this aspect, Charles Kirk could literally be interpreted as Freemasonic lodge, as Charles equals free man, which equals Freemason, and Kirk equals church, which equals lodge. So free Masonic lodge. Now, is that a little bit of a stretch? Maybe. But there's undoubtedly a hidden resonance with Charlie Kirk and Masonry. This becomes more evident as the manhunt lasted exactly 33 hours. 33 degrees is the highest visible degree in Scottish Rite Masonry. If you look where he was shot, it was surrounded by right angles. A Mason always stays on the square. More than that, Charlie sat directly in the middle of a pentagon, which acted as the ritualistic pentagram, sealing the ritual sacrifice within the five-pointed star. The most famous Masonic myth is the slaying of Hiram Abiff, the widow's son, the builder of Solomon's temple. Charlie Kirk, the free man slain in public, could be cast in that archetype, a ritual killing that preserves and renews the brotherhood. With a man named Church of the Freemasons dying in public, it could then be seen symbolically as a Masonic sacrifice in the open square. Hiram Abiff slain again by the three ruffians. This is sealed with a 33-hour marker. Charlie's death serves as a symbolic act to both bury the old Masonic lodge and the Enlightenment ideals of liberty, reason, and sovereignty, to resurrect Masonry power in the age of dark enlightenment, aka the technocracy. Thus, his blood becomes the cornerstone of a new temple, the global, digital, Noahide law-based order. Or are the Masons being sacrificed by Israel for the Greater Zion Project? Was this a warning to the American Masons by B'nai birth that they are expendable? Now that the third temple is almost built, you are no longer needed. We all know that Masonry is a Jewish establishment, which means literally Judaism for Gentiles. Another major tell is that the Patsy lived directly next to Zion National Park. This is no coincidence. Geography is incredibly important in these rituals. For the suspect to be linked to Zion ties the event directly to the idea of the Greater Israel Project, a global one-world governance under Zion. Utah is a Mormon state, a Masonic hotspot. In Mormon tradition, Zion is also a literal city that must be built before Christ's return. The Patsy was 22 years old. 22 is the master builder number. The manhunt was 33 hours. These are all Masonic and Kabbalistic markers. 33 and 22 are both master numbers. Charlie was shot in the neck. The penal sign of the entered apprentice is a slicing motion across the neck. If you break the oath, the penalty is having my throat cut across, my tongue torn out by its root, and my body buried in the rough sands of the sea at low water mark, where the tide ebbs and flows twice in 24 hours. Should I ever knowingly violate, this is my entered apprentice obligation. Now, this brings us to Charlie's middle name, James. This ties everything together. James comes from the Hebrew Yaakov, or Jacob, meaning supplementer, or the one who replaces. Jacob is the patriarch who wrestled with the God of Israel and was renamed Israel, which means he who struggles with God. So James encodes the idea of replacement, transformation, or most importantly, the rise of Israel. James literally means Israel, the supplementer of Israel. This is very important, as Charlie was seen as a mega Zionist, but there was signs that he was beginning to turn on Israel. He stated that Epstein was clearly a Mossad agent. Most Zionists would try to deny that angle. He allegedly told people he was scared that Israel was going to kill him if he turned on them. The sacrifice occurred in Moab. Biblically, Moab is the land descended from Lot's son, or the Moabites, who were the sometimes ally and often adversary of Israel. Moab's biblical story includes rulers trying to hide a prophet to curse Israel. That narrative casts Moab as a place where prophetic utterances and manipulations happen. This is a useful metaphor for an act intended to send a message to the world, not merely a private crime. The Church of the Free Man, aka Charlie Kirk, is slain to be replaced by the Temple of Zion. Now let's go back to where he was shot. If you look at where he was giving the speech from above, you will notice the architecture looks exactly like a giant menorah. Now if the tree of life is laid onto that menorah, Charlie would have been sitting exactly where Kether, where the crown, is located. Or in this case, the Amul, the false crown. The suspect's name is Tyler Robinson. This ties everything together. This is where it gets mind-blowing. In Masonic tradition, the Tyler is the officer who guards the door of the lodge with a drawn sword, ensuring that only initiated brethren enter. He keeps out Cohens and eavesdroppers. So the killer's first name encodes a Masonic guard / executioner role. He was from St. George. St. George is known as the Dragon Slayer. Now the last name Robinson literally means son of Robin, but in Masonic lore, there's a famous pseudonym, William R. Robinson, used in exposés of secret rite. It also echoes robbing son, one who takes life or inheritance. Thus, Tyler Robinson is the Masonic gatekeeper who robs or slays the son or fellow brother of the craft. And what was Tyler Robinson's middle name? James, aka Israel. As we discussed, the manhunt was exactly 33 hours. 33 is the highest visible degree in Scottish Rite Freemasonry. It also marks Christ's age at the crucifixion. A manhunt lasting exactly 33 hours encodes the event in Masonic numerology, framing the death as a ritual act sealed by the signature of the craft. The killing literally mirrors the Hiram Abiff myth. Hiram, the master builder, remember Tyler Robinson was 22. 22 is known as the master builder number. Hiram is the free man who was slain at the temple gates while the Tylers guarded the temple door. The ritual sacrifice of Charlie James Kirk, the Church of the Free Man, supplemented by Israel, encodes the move from America's original Church of Liberty into the Temple of Zion beast system, guarded by Masonic authority. The ritual occurred on September 10th, on the eve of 9/11. 9/11/01 is the modern ritual cornerstone of the Zionist technocratic one world order. September 11th, or Tisha B'Av, is the Hebrew day of mourning for both the first and second temple were allegedly destroyed in Jerusalem on that date. 9/11 itself was deliberately tied to this temple destruction archetype, the twin towers as twin pillars. The ritual sacrifice on September 10th aligns the sacrifice of Charles Kirk, the Church of the Free Man, with the destruction of the temple. The old temple, freedom, America, sovereignty, is destroyed, so the new temple, Zion, technocratic rule, can rise. Lastly, September 7th was a total lunar eclipse. September 10th, the day of the sacrifice, was the exact midpoint of the September eclipse season. In astrology, in the ancient mystery traditions, an eclipse season is a liminal portal. Solar eclipses are associated with kingship, outer order, the father, while lunar eclipses, aka blood moons, are associated with sacrifice, bloodlines, the mother, and the other side. The midpoint between eclipses is considered the eye of the serpent, the place of balance, where shadow and light are in tension. In Babylonian and Mesoamerican rites, the midpoint of eclipse season was when sacrifices were timed to align with cosmic order. September 7th was a blood moon. This marked the opening of the ritual gate. September 10th was the exact midpoint of the eclipse season. This was the day Charlie Kirk was killed. Symbolically, this is when the cosmic scales are balanced, halfway between the moon's shadow and the sun's shadow. Killing the Freeman's Church encodes a balancing sacrifice, sealing one order and opening another. The old world for the new technocratic Noahide law world order. September 11th, or Tisha B'Av, is the anniversary of the destruction of Jachin and Boaz, the temple pillars. September 11th sealed the ritual, tying it to the ancient temple desecration archetype. The 7th was a blood moon. It was the mother's shadow, the call for blood. September 10th was the Moab sacrifice from the father. The Freeman's Church is slain in the balance. September 11th is the memory of the Twin Towers. The pillars fall and a new temple order rises. It's like a 3-act ritual drama encoded in the skies and in blood. The timing was deliberate to the day. They didn't just kill him during eclipse season. They chose the exact hinge point when heaven's scales are in perfect tension. This was the turning point. After Charlie's death, Donald Trump called him legendary. Donald Trump was also born under a blood moon on June 14th, 1946. Both men are closely associated with the Greater Zion Project. So, you tell me, was it a ritual? You can be the judge.
I'm one of the Masons of Turning Point USA. I'm one of the Masons of Turning Point USA. I'm one of the Masons of Turning Point USA. I'm one of the Masons of Turning. I'm one of the Masons. I'm one of the Masons of Turning Point USA.
Okay, go ahead.
Hey, ladies! Now Paramount tells the sensational story of the unknown heroes who start in where the crime investigations leave off. Following through in the desperate fight to the finish against big-time gangland, its ruthless kingpin, and its mob of hoods who got away with everything until they killed a cop.
Police officer, drop that gun!
The Turning Point, a dynamite drama starring William Holden as McKibben, the tough reporter who knew all the angles.
If I were the professor, I'd question me, you, the DA, everybody in the whole kit and caboodle. I'd screen everybody.
You know they've been screened.
I'd screen them again. I'd get another minute mentally back to the time they were born. I'd question my own mother.
Edmund O'Brien as the prosecutor who followed a trail of corruption that was blazed in scarlet.
Where did you get this money?
From fellas. Where else? A silly question.
Alexis Smith as the beautiful society girl who started out by looking for excitement and found more than she bargained for.
There's a gun on me. Get away and keep in the crowd.
Raiden, are you receiving? We're still here.
How's that possible? The AI was destroyed.
Only GWs.
Who are you?
To begin with, we're not what you'd call human. Over the past 200 years, a kind of consciousness formed layer by layer in the crucible of the White House. It's not unlike the way life started in the oceans 4 billion years ago. The White House was our primordial soup, a base of evolution. We are formless. We are the very discipline and morality that Americans invoke so often. How can anyone hope to eliminate us? As long as this nation exists, so will we.
Cut the crap! If you're immortal, why would you take away individual freedoms and censor the net?
Jack, don't be silly.
Don't you know that our plans have your interests, not ours, in mind?
What?
Jack, listen carefully, like a good boy.
The mapping of the human genome was completed early this century. As a result, the evolutionary log of the human race lay open to us.
We started with genetic engineering, and in the end, we succeeded in digitizing life itself.
But there are things not covered by genetic information.
What do you mean?
Human memories, ideas, culture, history.
Genes don't contain any record of human history.
Is it something that should not be passed on? Should that information be left at the mercy of nature?
We've always kept records of our lives, through words, pictures, symbols, from tablets to books.
But not all the information was inherited by later generations. A small percentage of the whole was selected and processed, then passed on. Not unlike genes, really.
That's what history is, Jack.
But in the current digitized world, trivial information is accumulating every second, preserved in all its triteness, never fading, always accessible.
Rumors about petty issues, misinterpretations, slander.
All this junk data, preserved in an unfiltered state, growing at an alarming rate.
It will only slow down social progress, reduce the rate of evolution.
Right. You seem to think that our plan is one of censorship.
Are you telling me it's not?
You're being silly. What we propose to do is not to control content, but to create context.
Create context?
The digital society furthers human flaws and selectively rewards development of convenient half-truths. Just look at the strange juxtapositions of morality around you.
Billions spent on new weapons in order to humanely murder other humans.
Rights of criminals are given more respect than the privacy of their victims.
Although there are people suffering in poverty, huge donations are made to protect endangered species. Everyone grows up being told the same thing.
Be nice to other people.
But beat out the competition.
You're special. Believe in yourself and you will succeed.
But it's obvious from the start that only a few can succeed.
You exercise your right to freedom, and this is the result. All rhetoric to avoid conflict and protect each other from hurt. The untested truths, spun by different interests, continue to churn and accumulate in the sandbox of political correctness and value systems.
Everyone withdraws into their own small gated community, afraid of a larger forum. They stay inside their little ponds, leaking whatever truth suits them into the growing cesspool of society at large.
The different cardinal truths neither clash nor mesh. No one is invalidated, but nobody is right.
Not even natural selection can take place here. The world is being engulfed in truth.
And this is the way the world ends, not with a bang, but a whimper.
We're trying to stop that from happening.
It's our responsibility as rulers. Just as in genetics, unnecessary information and memory must be filtered out to stimulate the evolution of the species.
And you think you're qualified to decide what's necessary and not?
Absolutely. Who else could wade through the sea of garbage you people produce, retrieve valuable truths, and even interpret their meaning for later generations?
That's what it means to create context.
I'll decide for myself what to believe and what to pass on.
But is that even your own idea?
Or something Snake told you?
That's the proof of your incompetence right there. You lack the qualifications to exercise free will.
That's not true. I have the right.
Does something like a self exist inside of you?
That which you call self serves as nothing more than a mask to cover your own being.
In this era of ready-made truths, self is just something used to preserve those positive emotions that you occasionally feel.
Another possibility is that self is a concept you conveniently borrowed under the logic that would endow you with some sense of strength.
That's crap!
Is it? Would you prefer that someone else tell you? All right then, explain it to him.
Jack, you're simply the best, and you got there all by yourself.
Oh, what happened? Do you feel lost? Why not try a bit of soul searching?
Don't think you'll find anything, though.
Ironic that although self is something that you yourself fashioned, every time something goes wrong, you turn around and place the blame on something else.
It's not my fault. It's not your fault.
In denial, you simply resort to looking for another, more convenient truth in order to make yourself feel better.
Leaving behind in an instant the so-called truth you once embraced.
Should someone like that be able to decide what is truth?
Should someone like you even have the right to decide?
You've done nothing but abuse your freedom.
You don't deserve to be free.
We're not the ones smothering the world. You are.
The individual is supposed to be weak, but far from powerless. A single person has the potential to ruin the world.
And the age of digitized communication has given even more power to the individual. Too much power for an immature species.
Building a legacy involves figuring out what is wanted and what needs to be done for that goal. All this you used to struggle with. Now we think for you.
We are your guardians, after all.
You want to control human thought, human behavior?
Of course. Anything can be quantified nowadays. That's what this exercise was designed to prove.
You fell in love with me just as you were meant to, after all. Isn't that right, Jack?
Ocelot was not told the whole truth, to say the least.
We rule an entire nation. Of what interest would a single soldier, no matter how able, be to us?
The S3 plan does not stand for solid snake simulation. What it does stand for is selection for societal sanity.
The Cold War was the first war in history that held the possibility of ending in apocalypse.
The United States is the only country to have ever used an atomic weapon in warfare. These weapons changed the fate of the 20th century. They were so big and so destructive, they couldn't be used. It would have been a suicide pact. So instead, the Cold War was conducted through economic means, psychological means.
They envisioned the entire world Sovietized, communist style.
And through proxy battlefields across the world.
It created a need for secret activity that never went away.
The plan was to hit every city in Russia and China. It struck me as the most evil plan. This is institutional insanity.
The world, in many ways, faces a much more fraught nuclear landscape today than it has since the 1980s.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
There was a lot of questions associated with the collapse of the Soviet Union.
What would it mean for a nuclear power to come undone?
Several hundred kilograms of nuclear materials have never been accounted for. My automobile mechanic asked me if I'd like to buy some uranium, enough for 24 nuclear weapons.
Putin said the collapse of the Soviet Union was the worst geopolitical tragedy of the 20th century.
The Cold War did end, but we are living through a new Cold War.
Дають Україну частиною своєї імперії, їх спадщина, і вони це забирають.
Once humans stop seeing other humans as human, the most horrific acts are possible.
We're in a much worse place than we were in the Cold War. Cold War was cold. This is an unstable hot war, which could lead to catastrophic outcomes.
This guard unit occupied a church, using it as a base camp. They had to leave a note because they could not get hold of the pastor to get permission.
It is surreal. Yeah, you never expect to do this in your own country.
Chris Montgomery says he'd rather be in Iraq than patrolling American neighborhoods.
Walking up and down these streets, you don't want to think about the stuff that you're gonna have to do. Somebody pops around the corner.
We shoot in America.
Yeah.
This is what happens when you let good cops be cops. The FBI and our partners are proud to stand here today together to bring justice to the family of Charlie Kirk and honor his memory. Just last night, the suspect was taken into custody at 10 p.m. local time. In less than 36 hours, 33 to be precise, thanks to the full weight of the federal government and leading out with the partners here in the state of Utah and Governor Cox, the suspect was apprehended in a historic time period.
This is the United States of America. We've acted together. We have never been unable to overcome whatever the problem was. If you agree with me, go to Joe 30330 and help me in this fight. Thank you very much.
Candidates, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Okay. That's too many diamonds. That's too bright. That's too bright. Go ahead. Oh, Mason, are you a Mason? Of course I am. Okay.
Today at approximately 12:20 Mountain Standard Time, political influencer Charlie Kirk was shot in an event at the Utah Valley University. He was taken by private vehicle to Timpanogos Hospital, where he later passed.
You might as well put your pinky out when you drink your drink.
Quiz here for Shaquille O'Neal. Are you prepared to take this quiz? It's just for Shaq. Yeah. Cole High School, you wore 33 because of Patrick Ewing. 33 because of Patrick Ewing. Okay. Yes. That's easy. LSU. 33 because of Patrick Ewing. Okay. Let's go to the Lakers. 34 because the great Kareem Abdul-Jabbar wore 33. Yeah.
Come on, he of course he remembers this.
Yeah. With Phoenix Suns. 32. 32.
Why? Why 32?
Because Amari Stoudemire, I made him give it up to me.
Okay.
The Heat. 32.
Why?
Because I knew Alonzo was coming back. And I didn't want to take his number.
Okay.
The Dolphins. I never played for the Dolphins. In the Western University Dolphins. In number 50. Yeah, that's right. Number 50.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Why number 50 there?
David Robinson.
No, you
David Robinson. The Magic. 32. Yep. Those punk ass Terry Catlett tried to make me.
Oh, yeah, paid $50,000 for it. Leave Cat Bone alone, man. Use my rook.
The Celtics. 36.
36? Why 36? Oh, that's how many points you had like in a month.
No, I think 32, 33, 34 we're checking out. All right. Cavaliers. 33.
Why 33? That's how many points you had in 2 months.
If I had 4 rings, you got none.
Under this contract, our 33rd use of the Defense Production Act. Remember when you were saying, I didn't use it enough. And now you heard it's the 33rd use. We don't talk about it all the time. We used it, and we used it as a little bit of a threat, frankly, with certain companies that weren't doing as we were asking them to do, and it came through as both a threat and a usage. But this is our 33rd use of the Defense Production Act. Kodak will now produce generic active pharmaceutical ingredients, which is a big deal.
Checkmate.
Again?
Obviously, you're not well suited for three-dimensional chess. Perhaps three-dimensional Candyland would be more your speed.
Let's reset the board.
It must be humbling to suck on so many different levels.
Hey. Did you get my mail?
Yeah, right here. How was Nebraska?
Oh, better than North Dakota. I guess that joke's only funny in Nebraska.
From the data at hand, you really can't draw that conclusion. All you can say with absolute certainty is that that joke is not funny here.
Boy, it's good to be back.
How's your family?
Oh, it was the worst trip. Everyone got sick over the weekend.
Sick? Here we go. What kind of sick?
The flu, I guess.
But I don't need you to guess. I need you to know. Now, when did the symptoms first appear?
Maybe Friday?
Friday. Was that morning or afternoon?
I don't...
Think, woman who blew their nose and when?
Sheldon, relax. She doesn't have any symptoms. I'm sure she's not contagious.
Oh, please. If influenza was only contagious after symptoms appear, it would have died out thousands of years ago. Somewhere between tool using and cave painting, Homo habilis would have figured out to kill the guy with the runny nose.
Then you'll have to excuse Sheldon. He's a bit of a germaphobe.
Oh, it's okay. I understand.
Thanks for your consideration. Now, please leave.
You'd better go before he starts spraying you with Lysol.
Okay, well, thank you for getting my mail.
No problem. Welcome home.
What? Guard the Uncle Carl factor. At best, I have 60 years left.
How long, huh?
60 only takes me to here. I need to get to here.
What's there?
The earliest estimate of the singularity, when man will be able to transfer his consciousness into machines and achieve immortality.
So you're upset about missing out on becoming some sort of freakish, self-aware robot?
By this much.
And from one classic to another, this is summer of 69.
69.
There's a great big beautiful tomorrow, shining at the end of every day. There's a great big beautiful tomorrow, and tomorrow is just a dream away.
Man has a dream that's the sun.
He follows his dream.
When it becomes a reality, it's a dream come true for you and me. Shining at the end of every day, there's a great big beautiful tomorrow, just a dream away.
Well, that's all, folks. That's my line.
Step aside, babe. Let a star do this. That's all!
That's all, folks.
Can I go home now?
Ooh, we can see so clear.
Come on, do Nazi stuff.
Look out for Charlie.
I didn't think I would ever be doing this, but we need to talk about Charlie Kirk. Something happened, right? Before I start this, I need to put out there, like I do in these types of videos, that I am not on the right or the left. I cannot stand leftists, and I can't stand neocons. These modern people on the left think that they're Democrats. It's like, no, JFK was a Democrat. You know, you're a Bolshevik. And neocons are just as bad. They're just as bad. So I have to put that out first. So what happened to Charlie Kirk? There's a lot of weird shit going on. And I just need to get straight to it. You know, there was a smokescreen right away. You had this guy that started yelling, "I'd do it again, I'd do it again." and he was yelling, "Shoot me," and all this shit. I actually have that, and I'm trying to find the video, and somehow the video vanished. So I'm trying to refine that. But anyway, right after Charlie Kirk was shot, he creates this smoke screen, this diversion, and multiple people were arrested for this right away. They even came out and said that they had their guy. At 4:27 p.m. yesterday, the day he was shot, they said that they had their suspect in custody. And there were already multiple videos online of this guy being arrested. Multiple people. There was a guy outside his car that they said had a gun on the dashboard or something. I don't know. So I can't find the video of him yelling, "Shoot me," right now, but here's the video of him being arrested. And the woman sounds weird herself. That sounds like leftist rage, not like right. If she starts screaming for no reason, then she just did. What is that? Listen to that. What is that? It sounds weird. It doesn't sound authentic. So this guy was arrested, okay? And I began to look into him, and he pops up at all these different events all the time. He was interviewed for 9/11 shit back in the day. So, you know, this alleged nut job that was yelling, "Shoot me," and I'd do it again and all this. This is George Zinn right here, and he was from the, it looks like Major Breed Taylor Foundation. And he's being interviewed about 9/11. Check this out.
And we see that plane go in, and we just think, wow, you know, and then I think it was, what, a 9/12 or something like that, that second plane hit that tower. Immediately chaos in that hotel lobby. There was, everybody was on cell phones.
So he seems completely lucid, you know. It's very weird. The other day I was watching a video and Sam Hyde was talking about QAnon types. And I was like, QAnon? They were still talking about Trump hiding in a mountain waiting to take the throne in like 2022, you know. But he says these QAnon types, you know, everything isn't a conspiracy. And, you know, he's right. If you look outside your front door and you look around, there's nothing going on. You know, if you go to the store, there's no conspiracy going on. But when you're dealing with politics and power and money and narrative control, there's always a cover up and a crime happening. And that's all that a conspiracy is. You know, within days of Sam Hyde stating that not everything was a conspiracy, 7 right-leaning political candidates in Germany all died within a couple days, right before the election. This just happened in Germany. But this goes to show that not everything is a conspiracy set up or cover up until you get into politics, big business, and narrative control. So it's weird that this guy was just hanging out. I looked him up. I looked up this George Zinn. This same guy that created this whole smokescreen for the actual Charlie Kirk shooter was arrested in 2013 with making a bomb threat at a marathon. So he was totally lucid in that video talking about 9/11. And for some reason, he was chosen to be, you know, interviewed. And then suddenly, you know, he's at these places saying crazy things in the open, intentionally. He's intentionally doing this. Something's going on. Because you're going to see that the evidence doesn't line up. I found this really weird group on Instagram called Elevate Utah, and they are saying and doing some weird things, especially for Zoomers, you know, alleged Zoomers. They're acting more like boomers. You know, it almost looks like they're deep fakes or something. It's kind of weird. It doesn't seem natural.
Beam me up, Scotty.
It's very weird. It's dry. It's bland. No one would watch it, but, you know, they have like support. If you look at this photo, this was shot 7 days, a week, at least a week before Charlie Kirk was shot. And they call it Charlie Kirk 2025's Campus Martyr Tour. Check this out. Campus Martyr Tour. Why would they do that? It's a little bit weird. Video is very messy, but I literally have like 1,000 new files from yesterday that I'm trying to go through and find things. And I may have named things different, and it's really hard to sort out right now. But, you know, they said, we got the guy, and we don't have the guy. Now they're saying that it's this guy that jumped off the roof, right? And they were looking for him. Now they've caught him. Right? And he doesn't match the profile. What was said to be left on the bullets was left-wing messages like notices bulges, you know, OWO, what's this, right? And hey, fascists, catch this. But when they find the guy, he looks like he comes from like a conservative family. Very weird. But let me show you the big stuff. You're going to see this guy run across the roof without a weapon. So he was just on the roof. That's all they're looking for. They're really looking for the guy that was on the roof. Could somebody get on the roof and watch this show going on without shooting Charlie Kirk? Absolutely. So this guy runs across the roof without a weapon. He's got no gun in his hand. Then they close up here. He's got no weapon in his hand. He's got a little backpack. Now, they claim that the weapon is a 30-06. You cannot break down that 30-06, especially when you're running off a roof. It's impossible. So he jumps off the roof here with just a little backpack. That's a little backpack. Right? Or a jacket even. It's tiny. A 30-06 is very long. It's a long rifle. It doesn't break down like an AR. It's a rifle. like a solid rifle. So he jumps off with nothing, but they find the rifle in the woods. Now, people have claimed that he had it stuffed in his jeans. Well, how could he run? He runs across that roof, no problem. You are not going to stuff, a 30-06 into skinny jeans, which it looks like he's wearing, really thin jeans, and then run across the roof like that. And the way he ran across the roof in the beginning was stealthy. So there's no rifle at all up on the roof, but he doesn't leave with a rifle, but it ends up in the woods. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense from the guy's background and the messages left behind. Hey, fascists, catch this, notice his bulges, shit like that. It's weird. The ammo doesn't match up. If it said something else, they could make him somebody who's far right, who doesn't like Charlie Kirk because, he's a neocon. Whatever. You got all these people combing around, and they find this rifle in a wooded area. Try to break down, somebody take a 30-06. I want you to do this if you own one of these. Stick it into your really almost skinny jeans and try to book across a roof and then try to jump off a roof and then try to run, make a break for it. See how far you get and how quickly you can do that. They're literally saying that he jumped off a roof with a 30-06 stuffed in his pants. Are you fucking kidding me, dude? This is ridiculous. Something is amiss here. You have this George Zinn guy who created this entire smokescreen effect at the very beginning. So all attention went on him. This is like a magic trick. And it shows because there's always this BS. And people go, well, that happens. No, it doesn't always happen. It only happens in these cases. If there's a local scene and there's something going on, there's not some guy in the crowd that jumps out and goes, I'd shoot him again. It doesn't happen. It only happens in these cases. You've seen it so many times that you think it's normal. That's what's up. You have all the people on the left saying, see, he wasn't trans or he wasn't a leftist or he wasn't. They weren't going by what he looked like. They were going by the messages left on the rounds. Hey, fascists, catch this, right? That kind of shit. And then they see a photo of him and they freak out. It doesn't make sense because they probably don't have the right guy. If this doesn't match the messages left behind, then something else is going on and the pieces need to be put together. Maybe this guy was just on the roof checking the whole thing out. And maybe somebody took out Kirk from further away. I don't know. But what I'm seeing and what I've seen doesn't make sense. Even before I knew who it was, the guy hopping off the roof, when he runs away across the roof in the beginning, I'll show you that, he doesn't have a weapon. This video was called Assassin on Rooftop, right? And you see him running, booking across the roof without a 30-06 in his hand. You can even zoom in on it. He's not carrying anything. He's just booking. I mean, he's going so fast that by the time the camera gets over to the right, he's already across the roof. That fast. It doesn't make sense. It didn't make sense yesterday. None of it. And it's not making sense now. This guy just happens to be hanging out in front of right where Charlie Kirk was shot. He starts shouting that he'd do it again, and shoot me, all this crazy shit. It causes this whole scene.
And go figure, he was down there supposedly speaking on 9/11. Go figure.
Right? And the ammo has these messages left on it, and the messages don't fit who they caught. As I said before, this is like a magic trick. When they tell you to look over here, when they direct your vision to somewhere else in order to get the magic trick done. Just because we see a guy running on the roof doesn't mean anything. When we saw the alleged footage of the Trump shooter, he had a weapon. He had a weapon on the roof. So you don't know what really happened. They turned in the guy on camera, a guy on camera walking away from the event. The FBI said that was the guy. But the guy on camera was never seen carrying a gun, ever. Remember that. The FBI was looking for the guy leaving the place on camera. When he jumps off the roof, he doesn't have a weapon, but the weapon ends up in a woods somewhere. This is just like the fact that the Trump shooter had a ladder to get on the roof. All this kind of weird shit, man. There's a lot of shenanigans going on. So as Sam Hyde said, everything isn't a conspiracy, but let me add, until you get into politics, power, and political narratives and control, then things start to get weird. You've got all this weird shit going on. Go back to the 7 right-leaning political candidates that all die within a couple days. It's impossible. And they're all saying that they died naturally. All these people just die. So then the ballots are worthless because all the ballots have their names on it. It's like a coup. Charlie Kirk is taken out and all this other shit is going on. I planned on making a video about the stabbings and everything else going on, and then this happens and it's horrible. But something is up here. It's not natural. You've got this guy that creates a smoke screen saying he'd do it again and he's saying to shoot him and all this stuff. It's bizarre. And then they end up arresting like 3-4 different people quickly, saying that they've got their guy, but then this guy pops up. And he doesn't leave with the gun, but the gun ends up in the woods. A long gun that can't be broken down so easily. This is not natural. And if you believe that something like this is natural and just happened, then you probably own an Obama butt plug. And that Obama butt plug has probably been ran through your dishwasher multiple times. And that is it for now. Look out for Charlie.
I've seen this before. Who is that?
It's the guy.
What guy?
You know, the guy we were trying to get to do Nazi stuff. You know, come on, do Nazi stuff.
Oh, yeah. Still haven't been able to get him to do Nazi stuff.
No, but we keep trying.
I wonder if he'd be willing to do just a little bit of Nazi stuff. Rats.
Discovered phrases engraved.
Megan, I think I have a bulletproof resume showing my defense of Israel both on campus. Bulletproof resume showing my defense of Israel.
Charlie Kirk, right-wing activist Charlie Kirk.
Charlie Kirk, conservative political activist Charlie Kirk is dead. Is assassinated while speaking on a college campus in Utah.
Yo, what's good, y'all? It's your boy Script, back with another video, and it's only been a few days since Charlie Kirk was assassinated on camera while debating students at Utah Valley University in Orem, Utah. Since the 10th of September, the FBI, state of Utah, and millions on social media were on the hunt for the assassin. The following day, during a press conference, the FBI and Utah Police Department shared new videos and pictures with people eager for a name. Then just 33 hours later, Utah Governor Spencer Cox says,
We got him. We got him.
Now, the number 33 popping up in a story like this is par for the course. As I mentioned in my previous video, think of Ordo ab chao, which is Latin for order out of chaos. It's the motto of the 33rd degree, which is one of the highest honors and functions that can be bestowed on a Mason. This is what they intend to gain from this event, triggering further tensions between political parties so the masses become even more divided than they already are. In numerology, 33 is also considered amongst the master numbers, alongside 22 and 11. All three of these numbers come into play throughout this narrative. The alleged assassin was caught on the 11th day of the month. He's reportedly 22 years old, and he just happened to be caught after a 33-hour manhunt. Using gematria, you can see that the number 33 connects to very telling words regarding this story, such as false flag, masonry, order, secrecy, federal, police. I mentioned this same stuff when talking about Donald Trump's assassination attempt, which happened on the 13th of July in 2024. A date written 13/7, resembling 137, the 33rd prime number. You can see more of that on this video if you're interested. FBI Director Kash Patel said this during a press conference, quote, "In 33 hours, we have made historic progress for Charlie. They even provided us with the shooter's name that happens to sync up perfectly with Charlie Kirk, both with the 75 and the reverse reduction cipher." So who is Tyler Robinson? Growing up in a Utah suburb, Tyler Robinson seemed to be on a promising path. He had a close, tight-knit family, scored well on standardized tests, and earned a 4.0 GPA, according to social media posts. After graduating high school in 2021, he filmed a video proudly reciting a letter from Utah State University offering him a 4-year merit scholarship.
Okay. Congratulations. You have been selected to receive the Resident Presidential Scholarship from Utah State University. The value of this scholarship is approximately $32,000. This scholarship is available for 4 years or 8 semesters.
But Robertson left the state school just after a semester, taking a leave of absence and never returning. Now, when the FBI released videos and photos that were floating all around the news and social media, Tyler's father, Matt Robinson, thought he recognized the person and confronted his son. His father suggested he turn himself in, but likely reluctant, he persuaded him to talk to a youth pastor who works with the Washington County Sheriff's Office and the U.S. Marshals Service. During that conversation, Robinson admitted to the crime. Robinson was taken into custody around 10 p.m. on the 11th of September, the FBI said. Word spread that Matt Robinson, the shooter's father, was a veteran of the Washington County Sheriff's Office, but the Washington County Attorney's Office said that the reporting was not accurate and that Robinson does not have ties to local law enforcement. Quote, "The individual arrested is not related to Washington County law enforcement. There are multiple people with the same names," the Attorney's Office said in a statement posted to Facebook. A family member of Tyler was interviewed by investigators, Cox said. The family member said Tyler had become more political in recent years and mentioned that Kirk was coming to Utah Valley University to another family member at dinner. The family member said Tyler said he did not like Kirk and the viewpoints he held, according to the governor, further showing a motive for Tyler Robinson's actions. Adding another strange spin to this story, authorities discovered phrases engraved on ammunition that was found with a rifle near where Charlie Kirk was murdered. The bullets had the following engraved on it: arrow symbols, likely a Helldivers 2 bomb-dropping command; "Hey fascist catch," either a literal taunt or another Helldivers reference; "Bella Ciao," a World War II Italian anti-fascist song; notices bulges, OWO, a meme from the furry roleplay culture. And if you read this, you are gay, LMAO. So look, a lot has unfolded in the past couple of days, but leading up to all this news, people online, myself included, of course, were curious to know who's really behind this, because before they'd released the name, most of us had a hunch that this wasn't just a lone wolf, and many felt like whoever the media was going to release as the assassin was probably just a scapegoat. If so, then who's really behind it, and why would they want Charlie Kirk killed? Well, a lot of the dot connecting is tying back to none other than Israel, more specifically Mossad, their national intelligence agency. Mossad is known for their special operations and highly sophisticated takedowns to protect Israel's greater interest. Since October 7th, the public has become a lot more familiar with their capabilities, with extremely precise assassinations of Middle Eastern leaders. 60 Minutes of all sources put out an interview with a Mossad agent who ends up confirming everyone's suspicions about them.
We create a pretend world. We are a global production company. We write the screenplay. We're the directors, we're the producers, we're the main actors. The world is our stage.
I mean, come on. I literally referenced this in my previous video with the Shakespeare quote, all the world's a stage, and he's practically telling us the same thing. What's even more fitting is the Mossad's unofficial slogan, by subterfuge will you wage war. Subterfuge, a synonym for deception. Again, these powerful agencies, groups, and people in position of power tell us right in the open who they are. Using gematria, it's quite fitting to see how both Mossad and deception equate to 91. The number 91 is relevant in this case of Charlie Kirk in several ways. For one, Utah Valley University, where he was killed, and Make America Great Again, which he was actively promoting, both equal to 91 in the reduction cipher. 91 is the 13th triangular number. 13 is a reflection of 31, his age of death. And Charlie was killed a little over 3 months from the 13th anniversary of Turning Point USA. So it's as if Mossad was leaving their mark numerically. But let's take a step back for a second. Why are so many people pointing fingers at Mossad? Well, despite Charlie Kirk being a very open supporter of Israel and the Zionist regime, it seems that in recent months, Charlie was beginning to flip the script a little bit. Now, I said a little bit because a lot of people are throwing clips around, but when you watch the full videos and hear his follow-up statements, it's very clear that he remained an avid supporter to Israel to the fullest extent up until his death.
Do you support Israel? Yes, of course I do. Yes. Everything that Israel does gets so hyper-examined through this lens that no other country ever gets held to the standard of, ever.
Nobody does anything like Israel.
It's easy to say that the Jews run everything. If the Jews run everything, why is there so much anti-Semitism?
Now, doing my best to go in chronological order of clips floating around, take this clip of Charlie on the Patrick Bet David podcast just days after the October 7 attacks, where he very firmly questions how those attacks even transpired.
How did these guys not know this was taking place?
So I've been to Israel many times. The whole country's a fortress. When I first heard this story, I still had the same gut instinct that I did initially. I find this very hard to believe. I'm not willing to go so far that saying that Netanyahu knew or there was intelligence here, but I think some questions need to be asked. Was there a stand down order?
Again, if you watch those clips in their entirety, he's still very careful to make sure his support for Israel is known, but his conviction in his tone plus hindsight had people resurfacing that clip, trying to piece things together. Then people began sharing a clip from the Charlie Kirk show where he was talking a bit more freely about the Jews.
Jewish communities have been pushing the exact kind of hatred against whites that they claim to want people to stop using against them. Now, I don't like generalizations. Not every Jewish person believes that. But it is true the Anti-Defamation League was part and parcel with Black Lives Matter. It is true that some of the largest financiers of left-wing anti-white causes have been Jewish Americans. They went all in on woke, and it wasn't just ADL. It was some of the top Jewish organizations in the country.
Mind you, Charlie is a devout evangelical Christian, and the evangelicals support Israel primarily due to Christian Zionism, a religious belief that the establishment of the modern state of Israel fulfills biblical prophecies and is a prerequisite for the second coming of Jesus. So him doing this was certainly a bit out of character for those that follow him heavily. But then in July 2025, Turning Point USA had another event. This time, Charlie invited the very vocal anti-Zionist Dave Smith, a Jew himself, to debate pro-Zionist Josh Hammer, and after doing that, Charlie received a ton of backlash from his pro-Zionist supporters, simply for platforming someone against their views. On August 6th, he addressed his frustrations over this on an interview with pro-Zionist Megyn Kelly, where the two talked for over 15 minutes about how they were both very annoyed about how, despite being very firm supporters of Israel, that they still had the right to question certain narratives and have their own opinions. But they both realized how doing so, even in the slightest way, could lead to their characters and names being bashed by the very people they support. For additional context, Charlie was also floating the idea to his very large audience that Epstein was an Israeli spy and how he was running a blackmail scheme. Again, with his immense influence over his audience, this wasn't going to be in Mossad's favor to let this narrative continue, especially from a voice like his.
Is that Epstein, with his little friend Ghislaine and Ghislaine's father, Robert Maxwell, who is obviously a spy of the Israeli intelligence agencies, that there was something else going on here. And this is no longer just speculation. First of all, the evidence that shows that Epstein was a creation of either Mossad, Israeli intelligence, American intelligence, Saudi intelligence.
Then very recently on the Charlie Kirk show, he interviewed Ben Shapiro, discussing the ongoing Israel-Palestine conflict and the Qatar bombing. But it's what he brings up in this interview and how Ben Shapiro, a known Zionist and Jew, reacts to his words that had people feel like Charlie was maybe getting a bit too comfortable and steering a little too far away from the talking points the Zionists would like him to stick with.
And one thing a friend sent to me, interestingly, which is, okay, Charlie, we pushed back against the media on COVID, on lockdowns, on Ukraine, on the border, on, it's like, maybe we should also ask a question. Is the media totally presenting the truth when it comes to Israel? Just a question, you know, that maybe we shouldn't believe everything the media says, because I know I've been conditioned to ask a lot more critical questions over the last couple of years.
You could see Ben's facial expression display a look that he was taken back, or at least a little shocked at what Charlie was saying. Oh, and it especially didn't help that Harrison Smith, host of American Journal on InfoWars, tweeted this out about a month before the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Quote, "I'm not going to name names, but I was told by someone close to Charlie Kirk that Charlie thinks Israel will kill him if he turns against them." So with a ton of these clips going around, rumored fears on his life, and memes with thousands of likes and comments accusing Israel's Mossad, it got to the point where Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu even had to address this claim going around, as it's really spreading like wildfire, with the following statement.
You know, they have no limits. When you hate Jews, when you hate the Jewish state, you're willing to say anything and promote all these absurd rumors. And by the way, they're willing to kill us all the time. I mean, that's what they're doing.
What's even more strange, though, is the timing of Benjamin Netanyahu's tweet he sent out from Israel, praying for @Charlie Kirk at around 8:02 p.m. on September 10th. At that very moment, it was only 11:02 a.m. in Utah, meaning Charlie Kirk's shooting had not yet occurred. Since the news of Charlie being shot didn't break until 12:23 p.m. Utah time, Netanyahu's prayer tweet was sent a full 1 hour and 21 minutes too early, making it seem as if he had knowledge of an event before it could have possibly happened. To be fair, it could be doctored images, but if real, that's just insane. Others shared images of his tweet where he just happened to post it the same moment Trump shared his prayers. So whether he tweeted before the event or at the same time as President Trump, it's all making me and others think this was planned well in advance. Then on top of that, Trump shared on Truth Social this AI-generated image of him and Charlie hugging behind a US and Israel flag.
You don't find that suspicious?
The reality is that support for Israel has reached new lows as this ongoing genocide occurs. Whether it's those on the left that feel sympathy for the Palestinian plight, or the America First right-wingers beginning to realize just how much resources and money Israel is taking from their country. So much so that even many in the right-wing sphere, like Charlie, were beginning to express their growing concerns over the influence of AIPAC and organizations like the ADL.
I'm told that by some people that if I criticize AIPAC, I'm anti-Semitic.
I think it's ridiculous. Yeah, I feel like it's great to have a concern for your country.
Do you think that that AIPAC represents, again, I'm not saying
in all seriousness, if it was Mossad that was behind this, it's not something that would ever come to light, at least not in our lifetime. Also adding more of a reason to think that this was all planned is how a book was published on Amazon titled The Shooting of Charlie Kirk on September 9th, a day before the shooting. Screenshots of this quickly went viral. Amazon was quick to have it removed for violating content guidelines and clarified that a technical error showed the wrong publication date. Little is known about the author or the validity, as it could have and likely was AI-generated content under a fake name, Anastasia J. Casey. Now, real quick, I want to give my 2 cents on this idea that what we saw was pure theater. In other words, fake. So is it possible that the news is completely faking these people's deaths? Yes, it is indeed. And there have been shows and films giving us some glimpse into this notion. Now, would it be important to confirm if this were to be true? Certainly. But I think in the grand scheme of things, it's just semantics. At the end of the day, we already know the media lies to us, and people debating over whether it's real or fake only serves those feeding us the narratives. Hear me out. For one, it splits people. You get the "it's all fake, wake up" crowd, trashing anyone who believes it. For two, that attitude turns off anyone curious about the conspiracy side. They won't even look at it because it just feels disrespectful. That's why I tend not to get into whether it's real or not. Now, I have seen those clips showing how the ring on his finger switched positions, and that's pretty sketchy to say the least, as it implies the footage we saw might have been altered. There are also the clips of Charlie's bodyguards making some hand gestures moments before the shooting, raising more suspicions. Shit, some people even think that the same bodyguard by Trump's side during his assassination attempt was the very guy behind Charlie in this picture. I couldn't find another angle of that guard from Charlie's event to compare, but if that were to be the case, it would definitely add to the whole notion of this being a false flag, by having the same actors on deck.
I love you. I know. I love you. I love you. God bless you.
But again, what is more important is the energy ritual being done on us with this narrative. The fact that it's already causing so much division, with many on the left celebrating his death for his wild takes on black people in America, Gaza, Islam, and more as revenge, while the right call out the left for their behavior, it's exactly what an agency like Mossad or the US government would want.
White man, fight back! White man, fight back! White man, fight back!
Charlie's death serves as the perfect catalyst to enter a literal turning point in the USA, hence they off the founder of TurningPoint USA. It's all a big riddle, and the headlines, the quotes being thrown around, the subtle details, and the numbers they share are all part of their script, and it's up to you to use your discernment to understand if what you're witnessing is true or more so an orchestrated event meant to cause division, and better yet, distract the attention away from other pressing worldly matters. With all due respect, I'm not downplaying Charlie's death, but what are the odds that his death comes just days before Israel bombed Qatar, unprovoked, and then on the same day Charlie is shot, Netanyahu appeared in court for charges for bribery and corruption in Tel Aviv? You see, it's things like this that make people feel like Mossad is playing with American politics, so much to the point they're staging theater, just like the one Mossad agent said in his 60-minute interview.
We create a pretend world. We are a global production company. We write the screenplay. We're the directors, we're the producers, we're the main actors. The world is our stage.
Again, make of this what you will, but there's no doubt in my mind that there is more to this story, and that it's being used as a tool for division, possibly to enact even stricter gun laws in the future and enable more censorship. I mean, Charlie was known for debating students and was big on exercising his First Amendment rights and spreading that to his followers, only to get shot in public on camera wearing a t-shirt with the word freedom on it, basically symbolizing the end of freedom of speech in America. At the same time, they also used Charlie to send a message. The message being, if you claim to be on their side, but begin to deviate too far from their truth, they will have to take you off the world stage.
You're not allowed any nuance, Megan. It's only tribalism.
But tell me what y'all think in the comments. Is this a reach? Do you think Mossad was behind it? Is there another group behind it? And is Tyler Robinson just a scapegoat or really the lone wolf? I'm curious to hear your thoughts. As always, if you enjoyed this video, do your boy a favor, man. Like, comment, share the video, and most importantly, subscribe, man. Spin your boy Script, and I'm out of here. Peace. 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 Peace.
What if Charlie Kirk's assassination wasn't just a tragic shooting, but a meticulously orchestrated Masonic ritual sacrifice to consolidate global power? In every suspicious murder, a Masonic ritual, the first question should always be ciao bono, a Latin phrase that means who benefits. In order to answer this question in regards to the death of Charlie Kirk, we must first look at those closest to him, namely his wife, Erica. In 2018, Charlie Kirk met Erica France in what was allegedly a routine job interview. Erica had been referred to Charlie by an unknown source, but the timing and circumstances suggest something far more orchestrated. This chance meeting was very intentional. Around the same time, Charlie was increasingly working with Donald Trump, becoming a major figure in the MAGA movement. But Erica had her own ties to the Donald that predate her relationship with Charlie. Erica's biography reads like a classic story of elite grooming. She went to a Jesuit college and was recruited unexpectedly into modeling, one day receiving an invitation to participate in pageants. Her very first pageant were Donald Trump-owned Miss USA pageants, winning Miss Arizona in 2012. She then started working as a casting director. At the same time, she started a ministry called Romanian Angels, which was embedded in rumors of missing and allegedly trafficked children. Locals reportedly accused the ministry of sending children to the UK, Israel, and undisclosed islands, while authorities failed to investigate. Charlie Kirk, meanwhile, had built notable influence on the American right. He positioned himself as an Israel-friendly Christian thought leader among young conservatives. He started to gain a cult-like following with the TurningPoint USA. Charlie's family had connections to Trump long before the MAGA movement. His father, Robert W. Kirk, was an architect involved in the construction of Trump Tower. Charlie was adamant about the release of the Epstein files until he got the call to back off from the very top. This upset his base, but his star was rising. This combination of influence and visibility made him a high-value target for those who want to control the perception of reality. Invisibility made him a high-value target for those who want to control the perception of reality. So we must ask, who sent that initial random modeling letter to Erica? I wonder if it was the same person who suggested Charlie interview her for a job. Donald Trump's mentor, Roy Cohn, was infamous for perfecting techniques of influence, intimidation, and sexual blackmail. Trump was Cohen's star pupil, teaching the young Donald the art of strategic power through loyalty, reputation management, and narrative control. The same model was later perfected by Jeffrey Epstein. Epstein was the Mossad's chief blackmail operative in the United States. His purpose was simple: to compromise powerful American politicians and others through sexual entrapment, then use that leverage to advance Israel's interests. Through this lens, Erica's introduction to Charlie seemed a lot more intentional, a handler purposely chosen to guide Charlie to a predestined end. Erica was already embedded in Trump's network. She had the social access, charisma, and operational skills to act as a handler. Before she met Charlie, she was already reportedly worth millions. So it is a fair question to ask: was Erica used as a honeypot? In occult traditions, the most potent forms of control are not enforced through violence, but through voluntary surrender, often engineered through carefully managed temptation, emotional manipulation, or spiritual compromise. The CIA and Mossad learned the art of compromise from the KGB and long ago perfected the art of sexual blackmail. It is a weaponization of sexual desire and lust used to engineer obedience and total control. It is a form of spiritual bondage. In esoteric traditions, sexual energy is the most potent, creative, and destructive force. To control a man through his lust is to capture his soul and divert his creative potential, his seed, into the service of the controller's agenda. But the honeypot is more than a trap. It is a ritual archetype. In occult symbolism, it mirrors the whore of Babylon, the Scarlet Woman, or the priestess of Ishtar, whose sexuality enthralls their target and alters the course of history. So did Charlie fall for the trap? Since Charlie's death, Erica has acted extremely performative. It is extremely noticeable, and whether intentionally or as a natural byproduct of her placement, Erica's proximity to Kirk aligned with the pattern seen in elite circles, placing handlers alongside influential rising stars. So ciao bono, who benefits? Well, Charlie Kirk's untimely passing has now radically altered the power landscape. Erica Kirk inherited his wealth and amassed over $5 million in donations to organizations and causes connected to his legacy. Her profile also surged, her influence expanded, and she has been publicly urged by her supporters to consider a potential run for vice president in 2028. In effect, Charlie's death consolidated Erica's position at the nexus of wealth, influence, and political capital, solidifying her as a power player in the network she has already long been connected to. Complicating the picture are Erica's ties to Romanian angels, a ministry allegedly involved in the disappearance and trafficking of children to international destinations. These allegations echo the same operational methods seen in the Cohen-Epstein models, all very, very suspicious. It seems like Erica was initiated through the modeling, then became a casting director, and finally got to the darkest part was the Romanian angels. There is a reason why Trump does not want the Epstein files released. On the same day of the Kirk shooting, the Senate Republicans defeated Chuck Schumer's push to forcibly release the Epstein files. This was barely reported on. Perhaps Erica also has some skeletons in her own closet. Currently, Erica Kirk works as a real estate agent for the Corcoran Group. Barbara Corcoran of Shark Tank fame founded the Corcoran Group in 1973. In 2001, she sold it to NRT. NRT is controlled by Leon Black. Who is Leon Black? Leon Black is a billionaire financer and co-founder of Apollo Global Management, but more importantly, has an incredibly public ties to Jeffrey Epstein. Black paid Epstein more than $158 million for financial advice. Long after Epstein's 2008 conviction, Erica's proximity to this Black Epstein nexus cannot be ignored. It starts to look less like a coincidence and more like a placement. Real estate firms are historically one of the best vehicles for laundering money, moving assets across borders, and embedding people inside elite networks. This positions Erica within the very same power web that manufactured Trump, protected Epstein, and now seems to be building the infrastructure for a technocratic, no-hide, one world order. It is reported that Bibi Netanyahu invited Charlie for a trip to Israel, aka a re-education program, and he declined. Israel was one of the first to report on the assassination of Kirk. Charlie was increasingly starting to question Israel, claiming that Epstein was a Mossad agent and that Israel was going to ethnically cleanse Gaza. His loyalty to Israel was beginning to fade. Charlie was starting to veer off from the script. He told those closest to him that he was afraid if he spoke out against Israel that they would kill him. Within hours of Kirk's death, there were multiple murals of Charlie Kirk in Israel, including one with Donald Trump, which Trump even tweeted. Underneath the mural are the words Shlomo Pearl, which means a gullible patsy or a useful idiot. Why would Israel have a mural with a slang term meaning gullible patsy or useful idiot underneath Charlie Kirk and Donald Trump? Who is the Shlomo Pearl? Directly after the shooting, an elderly man claimed he had shot Charlie Kirk. In the video, the man did everything in his power to cause confusion and a diversion. This man's name is George Zinn, a known political gadfly. Zinn staged a perfect distraction, but was cleared almost immediately. Is George Zinn the gullible patsy or the useful idiot? Let's check out the video. Watch very carefully.
How dare you! 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 You're such a monster! What a monster! Such a monster! Monster! A monster! How dare you! Back it up! Back it up! How dare you! How dare you! You freaking monster! Yeah!
I don't know. He said he shot him, but I don't know.
Notice anything strange? Well, the whole video is strange. His pants are down. He's on his knees, needed to be carried out. This was a very intentional distraction. Zinn is a 70-year-old Ashkenazi Jew who was registered as a Republican in Utah. Years back, Zinn was in a documentary about 9/11, even claiming he was there. In 2013, he was charged with making bomb threats at a marathon during the aftermath of the Boston Marathon bombings. So this is a pattern for Zinn, running interference and distraction on PSYOPs, but running interference for who? Mossad. Zinn seems to be a synonym. What is a synonym?
The synonym are tens of thousands of people, Jews, Zionists, who are members probably of the Neighborhood, for instance. Neighborhood is the Jewish Masonry, who occupy high level in all the societies. I mean, you can imagine 5,000 Zionim in New York, only in the business area. 5,000 Zionim in Los Angeles, in the production area, in the artistic area. And you can, in France, in London, you can imagine 1,000 Zionim in the medias. You can imagine, and they receive orders from the Mossad, from a department of the Mossad called the War Department. And they work for the Mossad. It means that all these people who have their work, who work normally, they are citizens. I mean, they work in a bank, they are political, they are publishers. But when the Mossad call them and tell them, look, I need information. I need, for instance, I need that all the Zionim in all over the world say that this person, for instance, the Secretary General of the United Nations, has said something anti-Semitic. And you see all over the world, in Europe, in New York, the medias, you have the impression. I mean, when I discovered that, I understood. I mean, it's like when you light the light on, you know, because suddenly you open a newspaper, you listen to radio, you hear a politician. Everybody says the Secretary General of the United States said something anti-Semitic. I mean, the poor guy. And why? Because the Mossad gave the order to do that. And I can say, for instance, the example of Gilad Shalit, you know, the Israeli soldier kidnapped by the Hamas. In 24 hours, his name was known all over the world. I mean, even if it was an American general who was kidnapped, his name would never have been mentioned. Gilad Shalit, in 24 hours, became a celebrity in the universe. And this is the work of the
As you can see, Zinn fits the profile to a T. And this week, Zinn's been brought up on child porn charges. Romanian children going missing. Epstein Island. Zinn gets arrested in the same week for a similar charge. What is going on here? So who's the Shlomo Pearl? The useful idiot? The gullible patsy? Is Tyler Robinson? Is he the Shlomo Pearl? Well, he's the gullible patsy, that's for sure. He's definitely the useful idiot, the program asset, whether through ideology, manipulation, or other means, who they claim pulled the trigger. He is the deniable layer. But even deeper, the Shlomo Pearl is an inside joke. It is a magical act of revelation of the method they always have to tell you, flaunting their crime because they know that the hypnotized masses, the mindless sheep, will not be able to see it. The Gentiles are too stupid to understand the big picture. Bibi and Trump tweeted remembrance tweets at the same exact time, like it was set on a schedule. So ciao bono, who benefits? Multiple people. Erica, Israel, Epstein, and Trump all benefit, but they are not equals in this. They represent different levels of the same hierarchy. Erica is Charlie's immediate handler. She gains immense social capital, wealth, and a platform. She is now a widowed heroine, a powerful figure in her own right, whose past is shielded by a narrative of martyrdom. The Zionist network, Netanyahu Mossad, eliminated a growing critical voice, co-opted his movement, and sent a chilling message to any other conservative influencers who might dare to step out of line on Israel. They turned his death into a propaganda victory. This is classic intimidation tactics. The Epstein network is further buried. It preserves the integrity of their blackmail and trafficking networks. They maintain control over the populist conservative movement by ensuring its leadership remains compliant. They demonstrated their absolute power to ritually execute a prominent figure who was becoming a problem in broad daylight. Donald Trump benefits by consolidating his control over the MAGA movement, removing a potential future rival, and leveraging the martyr's energy for his own political revival. His synchronized actions with Netanyahu prove his allegiance lies with the international network, not solely with America. And above them all sits the unseen powers, the hidden hand, the black nobility, the Vatican's Jesuit intelligence arm, the old family monies, the Roman papal bloodlines, the Rothschilds, Rockefeller, who operate through these entities as proxies. They benefit from a controlled opposition of powers, the hidden hand, the black nobility, the Vatican's Jesuit intelligence arm, the old family monies, the Roman papal bloodlines, the Rothschilds, Rockefeller, who operate through these entities as proxies. They benefit from a controlled opposition of pacified populace and the continued erosion of national sovereignty. Compliant team player Ben Shapiro takes over Kirk's show in Turning Point USA. Now, obviously, the Masons and Israeli operatives were obviously used to carry out the ritual hit. They are the temple builders, after all. Maybe Charlie is in Valhalla. There's a definite pattern with the Irina Zertuska incident in the Charlie Kirk shooting. Charlie Kirk and George Floyd, who was also choked to death, another injury to the neck, share the same birthday. When examined through an esoteric lens, a pattern emerges, a ritual targeting of the throat chakra, the seat of speech, expression, and knowledge. Charlie's death was not merely political, it was magical. The throat is the center of communication, expression, and truth. By severing the throat, they perform a symbolic act. They kill the man in his growing dissident message against their power. They steal his voice by immediately co-opting his platform, Ben Shapiro taking over Turning Point USA in his martyrdom to promote their own agenda. They create a sacrificial energy. The spilled blood of a popular leader becomes a potent energy source to fuel their own rituals and consolidate power. The immediate memorials, the murals, and the tweets, this is a rapid harvesting of that sacrificial energy. One thing is for certain, nothing is as it seems regarding this incident. When Erica is viewed from this lens, it becomes clear the Miss USA pageants acted as a modern-day temple rites, selecting women based on their ability to embody the whore of Babylon archetype, the priestess of Ishtar archetype, beautiful, charismatic, and pliable. Her work with Romanian angels is the darkest aspect. If this ministry was a front for trafficking, it places her not just as a participant, but as an initiate into the deepest levels of this black sacrament. Handling children as commodities is the ultimate act of violating the sacred, a perversion of the nurturing feminine principle. This would make her a high-level operative, not a pawn. It is no coincidence that Erica was seen wearing a Masonic G ring and a Knights of Malta necklace following Kirk's death. This was to show her allegiance. Her family is heavily connected to Masonry. Remember, it was in 2018 Kirk started dating Erica. In May of 2019, Kirk formed Turning Point UK at Grand Master of Freemasonry, Prince Michael of Kent's Royal Automotive Club, with George Farmer, who is the beard of Candace Owens. Candace has literally said she was one of the Masons of Turning Point. Whether that would be a figure of speech or a reference to the craft is debatable. It's worth noting, like her husband, Candace is Catholic, not Christian. This is a major distinction. George Farmer, her husband, was a longtime friend of Andrew Tate, claiming to know Tate before he was Andrew Tate. Charlie allegedly introduced Turning Point USA to the UK through John Mappin. Mappin is said to be in Epstein's Black Book. All these connections are very, very strange, but it makes perfect sense. Charlie Kirk, the Christian thought leader who had morals, dignity, and came off as authentic, was the perfect target by our social engineers. His father's work on Trump Tower created a karmic link. His rising influence made him valuable. His genuine, if perhaps naive, Christian nationalism made him spiritually vulnerable to this sort of attack. A marriage to such a woman is not a union, it is a merger, an acquisition. His soul, his ministry, and his movement were acquired by the network she represents. More than a honeypot, this was a soul trap. FBI Director Kash Patel said at the press conference in remembrance of Kirk, lastly, to my friend Charlie Kirk, rest now, brother, we have the watch. I'll see you in Valhalla. This gave me pause. Valhalla is the Norse Hall of the Slain. In Norse mythology, Valhalla is an enormous hall located in Asgard, ruled by Odin. It is believed that warriors who die bravely in battle are chosen by Odin and enter Valhalla. Thus, it is referred to as a fallen warrior heaven, a Viking heaven. In ancient rituals, the life force of a significant individual, say a king, a prophet, a hero, or a modern-day influencer, was considered the most potent offering to the gods or dark forces to secure power and stability for the ruling order. Kirk, as an influential Christian leader, was a high-value sacrificial offering. Erica's grandfather was a founding member of the Independent Order of Vikings, Valhalla. He was also knighted by the King of Sweden. What's even more fascinating is Donald Trump's bloodline ties back to King Christian of Norway, Denmark, and Sweden. Trump is literally related to Queen Margrethe of Denmark. Trump's relationship to Scandinavian royalty connects him to these Odinic traditions. It's important to realize that Odin is not a god of peace. He is a god of sovereignty and magic who demands sacrifices. By mentioning Valhalla, Patel is knowingly or not placing Kirk's death within this metaphysical framework. A death, or more accurately, sacrifice demanded by the dark gods of power to strengthen their reign. Valhalla also ties to Adolf Hitler in Nazi Germany. Trump's presidency has been filled with subtle Nazi imagery. Trump tweeted an image of Kirk after his death with both American and Israeli flags. Israel was a direct result of Nazi Germany. The current Swedish queen has even had to deny connections to Nazi Germany. These people are all interconnected, interrelated. Erica is clearly tied to Trump, the Epstein network, and has taken multiple pilgrimages to Israel. Her placement next to Kirk was not just operational, but symbolically significant, a merging of bloodlines and occult loyalties. This also suggests that her family has been part of this intergenerational web of influence for some time. She wasn't recruited, she was groomed from birth for a role such as this. This entire situation was a grand ritual sacrifice with multiple overlapping purposes. 1. Silence a threat, eliminate an influential voice that was straying from the script. 2. Harvest energy, create a martyr to energize the base and fuel their future magical workings. 3. Consolidate power, transfer influence and wealth to a controlled asset, Erica, in a compliant entity. Turning Point USA goes to Shapiro. 4. Send a message to every other influencer, compliance or death. 5. Reveal the method, flaunt their power through symbols and inside jokes to assert dominance over the aware, knowing most will remain blind. And yesterday, 1 week after the shooting, Trump met with the British royal family, including King Charles. You all know that Prince Andrew, King Charles' brother, has a well-documented connections with Jeffrey Epstein. There are court filings, interviews, photographic evidence, and media investigations showing that Andrew was a close friend with Epstein, staying at his properties and going on the Lolita Express. Prince Andrew was accused by Virginia Giuffre of sexual misconduct, connected with Epstein's trafficking networks. Virginia Giuffre allegedly committed suicide earlier this year. The meeting with the British royal family days later is the closing of the ritual circuit. It is a gathering of the different branches of the same tree, the European aristocratic bloodlines, the intelligence networks, and the financial power, to acknowledge the successful completion of the operation and to plan their next move in their century-long game. So again, I ask, what is going on here? As I said earlier, one thing is for certain, nothing is as it seems. Why? Because we are not just looking at politics, we are looking at high-level sorcery playing out on the world stage. This is not merely a political conspiracy, it is a spiritual war. This ancient network that pulls the strings on the world stage are fundamentally anti-Christ and anti-nation. They are anti-Christ as they use the veneer of Christianity, Kirk's movement, Erica's ministry work, to mask their true nature, which is deeply pagan and occult, a system of control, sacrifice, and power worship. And they are anti-nation. They seek to destroy sovereign, ethnically coherent nations like the America Kirk claimed to champion, and replace them with a globally managed populace easier to control. The murder of Charlie Kirk was a ritual act to strengthen this ancient parasitic system. It was a warning and a demonstration of power. The question is not just who benefited, but what benefited. And the answer is a spiritual force of darkness that has worn masks of Rome, of certain branches of the church, of Freemasonry, and now of global finance to continue its war against God, nation, and humanity itself. God help us.
I just realized that after I made that Charlie Kirk video, I forgot to add my original point. And I'm just going to talk for a minute about this because it's that important. It doesn't make sense. It's just one more thing that doesn't make sense about all this. If you haven't seen that video yet, I'll link to it below. You need to see it. But let me just get straight into this because it's wonky. There's a lot wonky about this. Now, I'm not one of those people saying that Charlie Kirk is still alive or any of that shit. But the crime does not match up with the person or even the person on the roof. They're saying that he left the gun in the woods. It doesn't make any sense. Even leaving the gun in the woods doesn't make any sense. They're saying that he had it stuffed in his pants here. That's what people are saying. And you can see him running across. Do you know how long a 30-06 is? It's like 40 to 44 inches long. It's ridiculously long. You could not jump off a roof with one. But that's not my point. My point is, if he left it in the woods with these political messages on it for them to find, just like how Robert Couch, I believe that was his name, left the AR at the scene so that they would know it was an AR. Right? Why didn't he just leave it on the roof and run? He's not leaving here with a gun. Okay, it's just a backpack there, if anything. Why wouldn't he leave it on the roof? If he was going to leave it in the woods, why wouldn't he just leave it at the crime scene? This doesn't make sense, man. They would just drop it on the roof with the political messaging to find it, and he'd be out of there. He wouldn't have to carry this rifle with him that he was going to ditch in the woods anyway. It doesn't make sense, dude. And he's not running with a rifle. There's no rifle. If anything, if they have photos of him limping or walking weird, it's because he popped his ankle when he jumped off this building that is what, probably 15 feet high, 12 to 15 feet high. He probably fucked up his ankle and it was hurting after a while. If he is walking weird, that's what it's all about. This doesn't make sense. He doesn't have a rifle here. Finding the rifle in the woods doesn't make sense. The only thing that would make sense is finding the rifle at the crime scene, which it wasn't. Put yourself in those shoes for a minute and try to understand that motive. If you write down all your political messaging, really small print, on rounds that are left behind, and on the weapon itself, your intent is to give them a clue as to what happened, why it happened, why you did it. That's what you're doing. You're signaling. You're preaching. Why didn't he leave it at the crime scene? So this alleged 30-06 got magically from the roof to the woods where they found it. Now, they can't account for why it's not on his body, so they're saying that he stuffed it in his pants. Now, somebody online said, well, those weren't skinny jeans. They're skinny enough, dude, when you look at them. Come on, you know what I meant. Bots can't understand nuance. They're skinny. I said thin, skinny or thin. You don't have a 30-06 with a scope stuffed in those jeans. Something else is going on here. Was he shot from further away by somebody who was much more skilled? You need to keep in mind that police and the feds already had 2 to 3 suspects in custody. Then they come out and say, nah, they were released. This is the guy. Go after him. And here he is in his slim-fitting jeans. Very slim-fitting jeans. But remember, you've never seen an image or a video of this guy with a gun. Not once. You just see images of him walking on foot, on camera, but no rifle. A rifle that cannot be taken apart or broken down very easily. A rifle that is 40 to 44 inches long or longer. The most common barrel length for these rifles is 24 inches. These are large guns, especially when there's a legitimate scope put on them. Someone didn't use a red dot for this. They used a scope. Put that together with the fact that most of these are, again, 40 to 44 inches long, and there is no possible way that he is hiding a 30-06 with a scope and a pair of jeans that size. They're slim-fitting jeans. Not to mention, none of the images show him with a gun or something large enough to carry a gun of this size. This is suspension of disbelief in action, because there are simply no incriminating images of this guy. Only people claiming he's the one, he's the guy. In fact, the entire story is secondhand. A secondhand story with no incriminating evidence when we live in a world where someone can't even steal an Amazon package without leaving a massive trail of digital evidence behind. And just like the rest of these stories and narratives, we have a narrative with absolutely zero damning evidence where we can say, ah, yeah, there he is carrying the rifle. There's literally zero evidence or substance. They were looking for this guy. We don't know what's going on. And again, the gun had all this writing on it. The ammo had writing on it. This is preaching from the weapon left behind. Why wouldn't he leave it on the roof and book? Why was it found in the woods? It doesn't make sense. If you're preaching, then leave it right where it's at and run. And again, there is no footage of him carrying a 30-06 rifle with a scope. Show it to me and I will totally shut my mouth and eat my words. You know, but he was limping. because he dropped off a 15-foot roof, man. He probably fucked his ankle up. Easily a 13 to 15-foot roof. At least it's a suspension of disbelief. We never ever see a weapon, ever. But no one is going to run with that weapon that we never see through a crowd, through people, just to hide it in the woods to be found later when they are preaching with that weapon. They are going to leave it at the crime scene. It doesn't make sense. And that is it for now. Look out for Charlie.
I'm one of the Masons of Turning Point USA. I'm one of the Masons of Turning Point USA. I'm one of the Masons of Turning Point USA.
Now to our other top story. Conservative political activist Charlie Kirk is dead after he was shot during an event at Utah Valley University in Utah. As of tonight, no one is in custody for the shooting. Fox 13's Brian Yinnis has more.
Authorities are continuing their investigation into the fatal shooting of conservative activist Charlie Kirk.
This is a political assassination.
Chaos at Utah Valley University. Students running after hearing a gunshot during an outdoor campus event with a 31-year-old Turning Point USA CEO.
We did have 6 officers working that event. We had probably over 3,000 people that were in attendance.
According to authorities, Kirk was shot from a nearby rooftop in a targeted attack. He was rushed to a local hospital, but did not survive. Campus immediately closed and classes are canceled until further notice as local police and the FBI investigate.
The only information we have on the suspect, the possible shooter, is taken from closed circuit TV here on campus, but it is security camera footage, so you can kind of guess what the quality of that is.
Beam me up, Mr. Spark. Beam me up. Lock on transporters. Beam us up. Beam us up. Quickly. Beam us up home. Beam us up.
Prepare to beam us up, Mr. Scott. Beam us up, Mr. Scott.
Prepare to beam us up. Scott, prepare to beam us up. Have Scotty beam us up. Beam us up. Beam us up. Scotty, beam us up fast. Stand by to beam us up. Scotty, beam me up.
Beam me up.
Beam us up now!
Stand by to beam us up.
No need to beam me up, sir. The situation is under control.
The little church of Carthy is the place of worship for the royal family while in residence at Balmoral. Carthy Church nestles among the pines on the edge of the Forest of Mar, and as the crow flies in Scotland, lies 2 miles from the picturesque castle over which the royal standard floats. To church on the Sabbath, the King and Queen are wont to drive in an open chaise, and on this occasion King Boris of Bulgaria accompanies them. At Balmoral, King George leads the life of a Scottish laird, and worships every Sunday with his tenantry, according to the rites of the Church of Scotland. After the service, their Majesties drive away in their unpretentious conveyance, taking their little grandchild, Princess Elizabeth, with them. Mr. Ramsay MacDonald is a guest at Balmoral, and leaves unassumingly on foot following the service, which he, too, has attended as a good Scotsman.
Prince Harry and King Charles reunite for the first time in 19 months. The Duke of Sussex is seen arriving by car to Clarence House, the King's London residence, to seemingly meet with his father before heading to another engagement in the city. While Harry pulls into the residence around 5:20 p.m. local time on September 10th, Charles returned to the home just hours before. The pair's reunion comes nearly 2 months after Harry's chief communications officer was spotted meeting with the King's communications secretary in London. 3 months prior, Harry expresses hope that he and King Charles can one day make amends, following years of estrangement over his and Meghan Markle's battle to restore security protection in the UK. Harry tells the BBC in May, "There have been so many disagreements, differences between me and some of my family. This current situation that has been ongoing for 5 years with regard to human life and safety is the sticking point. It is the only thing that's left." However, the former senior member of the royal family notes that his 2023 tell-all memoir Spare remains a lingering issue between him and his family. "Some members of my family will never forgive me for writing a book, of course. They will never forgive me for lots of things."
You look at the different places, and Christianity, it's under siege. I'm a Protestant. I'm very proud of it. Presbyterian to be exact, but I'm very proud of it. Very, very proud of it.
I've been alive for 4.5 centuries. And I cannot die.
Well, everybody's got their problems. What are you gonna do with that?
Take it. I am Conor MacLeod of the Clan MacLeod. I was born in 1518 in the village of Glenfinnan on the shores of Loch Shiel. And I am immortal.
Bad things are happening. Very bad things are happening. And we don't, I don't know what it is. We don't band together, maybe. I will tell you, Christianity is under siege, whether we want to talk about it or we don't want to talk about it. And if I said some of the things about Christians that I've said about the Muslims, where we have a problem, and it's a problem we have to talk about, and I brought it out. I took a lot of heat for bringing it out. And I will tell you that now people are saying he did a great service. Just like when I brought out illegal immigration, everybody went crazy about Trump. And how could he say that? And then about 2 weeks later, everyone's trying to say, well, you know, Trump's right, because they see the murder of Kate in San Francisco and Jamil in Los Angeles and so many others, the tremendous crime and what it does to your economy. So I brought these things out. I feel I have an obligation to bring them out. You know, remember, I'm self-funding my campaign, so I don't have anybody speaking in my ear. So I just have to say this because, you know, I'm a true believer, and you're many true believers. I hope all. Is everybody a true believer in this room? But Christianity is under tremendous siege. And if I said that about Christians, I would have less backup than by saying it about Muslims. I had tremendous backup. Now everyone's saying, wow, it was such a great thing to say because now everybody's talking about it. I mean, people flying planes into the World Trade Center. Let's talk about it.
In Scotland, she came from humble
into the World Trade Center. Let's talk about it. Such a great thing to say because now everybody's talking about it. I mean, people flying planes into the World Trade Center. Let's talk about it.
Mary Ann MacLeod. Trump was born on May 10, 1912, was the mother of Donald Trump, President of the United States. Born in the small village of Tong on the Isle of Lewis in Scotland, she came from humble beginnings in a Gaelic-speaking Presbyterian household. Her father, Malcolm MacLeod, was a fisherman and crofter, and her mother, Mary Smith, was a homemaker. Mary was one of 10 children in the MacLeod family, and her early life was marked by the harsh realities of rural Scottish life, especially during the post-World War I years. At the age of 18, seeking a better life and she boarded the RMS Transylvania. She decided to emigrate to the At the age of 18, seeking a better life and opportunities, Mary decided to emigrate to the United States. In 1930, she boarded the RMS Transylvania and arrived at Ellis Island, New York, with only $50 to her name. Like many other immigrants at the time, Mary initially worked as a domestic servant, a common job for young immigrant women in the early 20th century. She lived with her older sisters, who had already settled in New York. Her life changed dramatically when she met Fred Trump, a successful real estate developer from Queens, New York. Fred, who was of German descent, had already established a prosperous career in property development, and the two were married in 1936. Together, they had 5 children: Marianne, Fred Jr., Elizabeth, Donald, and Robert. The family lived in the upscale neighborhood of Jamaica Estates, Queens, and enjoyed a comfortable life, largely thanks to Fred's flourishing business. Mary MacLeod Trump was known for her devotion to her family and her religious faith.
So do you think Jews should be allowed on the Temple Mount? So you don't think it's a Temple Mount? Because if you do, that's the very interesting thing. If you just say it's a Temple Mount, I'm putting you admittedly in a very difficult position because Muslims do not recognize it as a Temple Mount.
Right, they recognize it as their place of worship, and it's been that way since the beginning.
No, it's been the Temple Mount since King David. Thank you very much. So, I mean, you could say whatever you wanted to say. It's a huge point. It's actually it's one of the biggest inhibitions of peace.
Hey guys, today I am in a village called Temple, standing next to this old ruin, which was once the headquarters of the Knights Templar in Scotland. Stay tuned to see more. Back in the year 1119, all the way in the Holy Land of Jerusalem, there were 9 Christian monks that were given the important role of protecting the pilgrims and defending the Temple Mount in Jerusalem. You see, these monks, they spread all over the Christian world at that point in time. And in 1129, they met with the King of Scotland. And the King of Scotland granted them this land here. The King granted the Knights the land of Ballinthrough, about 10 miles south of Edinburgh. It's now known as Temple. I wonder why. You see, these knights were answerable to no man. Only the Pope had a say in the knight's life. I've ever seen in a graveyard in my whole life. Never mind in Scotland. It is like a skull and crossbones, some Viking style thing.
She was a devout Presbyterian and actively involved in charitable and church activities, especially with the Ladies Auxiliary of the Jamaica Hospital Medical Center.
This church website is closed on Sunday. That's right. The pages disappear on Sunday with a warning to come back after the Sabbath. There's not many Presbyterians more conservative than the Free Presbyterian Church of Scotland. It's a small group with 58 churches, 28 of which are in Scotland itself. But here's some of their beliefs and practices. They sing only the biblical psalms, no extra biblical hymns, and without instruments. They always stand or kneel for prayer, no sitting. There are no holidays celebrated, such as Christmas or Easter. Sunday is the Christian Sabbath, and you are to do no work on it, no radio or television. You can't take public transportation on Sunday either. The head of the household is required to lead in family worship twice a day, and women don't wear slacks and do wear a head covering for worship, and they're not permitted to speak before the congregation. They are 5-point Calvinists. They oppose evolution and believe in six-day creation. The base of their beliefs are basic Protestant Christian beliefs like the Trinity, virgin birth, and sinless life of Jesus Christ in his death and resurrection. And as a Presbyterian denomination, their churches are run by a session made up of ruling elders and their minister, which then send representatives to a presbytery, and above that is a synod. They have two sacraments, baptism and the Lord's Supper, and baptism is of infants, and the Lord's Supper is a fenced table, meaning they restrict who's allowed to participate. They also physically sit at the communion table to observe, and this is done only once or twice each year. However, it's a special time, and there are several days of preparation services leading up to the communion service. One thing you definitely won't find in a Free Presbyterian church is speaking in tongues. They're cessationists, meaning that they believe that certain spiritual gifts like tongues and gifts of miracles have ceased.
Somebody said the president's been shot, and I froze, like so many people. I started crying and started praying, but when you rose up with fight, fight, fight,
I was quite a day, because it's almost impossible for even a bad shot to miss you from that distance. Now, he didn't miss me. Probably an eighth of an inch is the difference. And it all happened to be because I was looking there to the side on a chart on illegal immigration. Can you believe it? I was talking about something, and I just said, pull down that chart if you would. And I turned it right very quickly, and I knew something was real bad. Don called me first. He said, somebody was protecting you up there.
Despite her husband's growing wealth and the family's luxurious lifestyle, Mary remained grounded, retaining much of her Scottish identity and accent throughout her life. She regularly visited Scotland and maintained strong ties to her homeland. As the matriarch of the Trump family, Mary exerted a significant influence over her children, particularly Donald. In interviews, Donald Trump often spoke of his mother's strong character, work ethic, and traditional values. She reportedly instilled in her children a sense of discipline and ambition, values that would shape Donald's future career in business and politics. Mary's later life was marked by tragedy when her eldest son, Fred Jr., died in 1981 at the age of 42 due to complications related to alcoholism. This loss deeply affected the family. In her later years, Mary suffered from osteoporosis and other health issues. In 1991, she was seriously injured in a car accident, which affected her mobility and overall health. Mary Ann McLeod Trump passed away in 2000 at the age of 88. Her legacy endures through her children, particularly her son Donald. Despite her humble beginnings, Mary McLeod Trump's life story is a testament to the immigrant experience and the pursuit of the American dream.
So not only do you have the 119 there, the 9/11 mirrored, but you have the 127, right? Like towers 1, 2, and 7 that fell. You know how they called 9/11 the new Pearl Harbor? Pearl Harbor happened on 12/7, right? November. No, wait, December 7th. Yeah, December 7th, 12/7. So you have towers 1, 2, and 7. They called it the new Pearl Harbor, which happened on 12/7. And then here you have in speed. Clearly, you got your 127 and your 9/11 inverted.
I think I can reach the circuit wire. You can reach the circuit wire. No, don't. That's a decoy, classic. That's your classic decoy. What else? What else? Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Slow down just a bit, all right? We don't have to go so fast, do we? Okay. Just slow down just a bit, all right? Please note, Einstein's clock is in precise synchronization with my control watch. Got it?
Right, check them. Good. Check out that 4x4. That is hot.
People are shooting in California. People are shooting in Paris. 130 people killed in Paris. Nobody wants to talk about it. We have a president that doesn't want to say radical Islamic terrorism. He doesn't want to talk about radical Islamic terror. He doesn't want to even mention it. It's like it doesn't exist. It exists. And I'll tell you something. If I said that about Christians, and if I said banned, I'm telling you, I would have had less difficulty. And that's pretty sad because we're Christians. I'm Protestant. I'm Presbyterian. Are you surprised to hear that? Yeah. I always like to bring my communion pictures along. Sometimes I'll bring a communion, but I didn't want to. I think you believe me, right?
In Tel Aviv on what is now early morning in Israel. Trey.
Yeah, Trace, good evening. Overnight, Israel launched a series of strikes, according to the IDF, using dozens of fighter jets to target different positions across Iran, not only hitting the country's nuclear program and their ballistic missile supply, but also targeting individual leadership, including the head of the IRGC, Hussein Salami. This is the top military general in all of Iran, and according to Iranian state media, he is dead.
Ministers say the crowds on Sunday rivaled those at Christmas.
The president was one of those Americans who went to church, but he spent a lot of the time this weekend meeting with advisors at the presidential retreat Camp David. When he returned to the White House, he spoke to the media.
This crusade, this war on terrorism is going to take a while, and the American people must be patient. I'm going to be patient, but I can assure the American people, I am determined. I'm not going to be distracted. I will keep my focus to make sure that not only are these brought to justice, but anybody who's been associated will be brought to justice.
The nation is apparently with him. According to an NBC News Wall Street Journal poll conducted over the weekend, 81% of Americans prefer that the United States not retaliate for the attacks until we're sure who's responsible. Yet Americans are jittery. 45% are worried that they or a member of their family might become the victim of a terrorist attack.
It all started over 1,000 years ago. A French king conquered the holy city of Jerusalem. This crusade, one of the most massive, sweeping in history, was actually orchestrated by a secret brotherhood, the Priory of Sion, and their military arm, the Knights Templar.
But the Templars were created to protect the Holy Land.
That was a cover behind their true goal, according to this myth. Supposedly, the invasion was to find an artifact lost since the time of Christ. An artifact, it was said, the church would kill to possess.
Did they find it, this buried treasure?
Put it this way. One day the Templars simply stopped searching. They quit the Holy Land and traveled directly to Rome. Whether they blackmailed the papacy or the church bought their silence, no one knows, but it is a fact. The papacy declared these priory knights, these Knights Templar, of limitless power. By the 1300s, the Templars had grown too powerful, too threatening. So the Vatican issued secret orders to be opened simultaneously all across Europe. The Pope had declared the Knights Templar Satan worshippers, said God had charged him with cleansing the earth of these heretics. The plan went off like clockwork. The Templars were all but exterminated. The date was October 13th, 1307, a Friday.
Friday the 13th.
The Pope sent troops to claim the Priory's treasure, but they found nothing. The few surviving knights of the Priory had vanished, and the search for their sacred artifact began again.
What artifact? I've never heard about any of this.
Yes, you have. Almost everyone on Earth has. You just know it as the Holy Grail.
You guys know what this represents? Well, maybe it's the calm before the storm. What's the storm? Could be the calm before the storm.
What storm is
We have the world's great military people in this room. I will tell you that. And we have great people. Thank you all for coming. Thank you.
What storm, Mr. President?
You'll find out.
Give us a hint in your answer.
Thank you, everybody.
Mr. President, how imminent is an Israeli strike on Iran?
Well, I don't want to say imminent, but it looks like it's something that could very well happen. Look, it's very simple, not complicated. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. Well, I'd love to avoid the conflict. Iran's going to have to negotiate a little bit tougher, meaning they're going to have to give us some things that they're not willing to give us right now. I want them to be successful. I want them to be tremendous. We'll help them be successful. We'll trade with them. We'll do whatever is necessary.
We do begin with that breaking news in the Middle East and now escalating fears of an all-out war in the region. The IDF has confirmed Israel has hit nuclear targets. Officials say dozens of jets completed the first stage that included strikes on dozens of military targets, including nuclear ones. Our producer on the ground in Tehran heard blasts around the city. Our teams have reported air raid sirens in Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. The strikes come as the U.S. has planned nuclear talks with Iranian officials this weekend.
That's why I'm once again asking you to strictly follow the guidelines of the Homefront Command. It's very possible that you will need to stay in protected spaces for an extended period of time, much longer than we've been used to until now.
Love your company. Said you'd get me out of this.
I tried, but don't take these things out of the world, and the end of the world for that matter.
And do what an ad for these people.
That's over there, too.
Yeah.
Oh, Cooper, we have a request for a Nuka-Cola partnership promo.
Whether you're kicking back in a luxury vault or sitting poolside on a hot summer's day, zap that thirst with Nuka-Cola. I've got other things that I want to do with my career, you know?
I know.
I'm an artist. I'm not some corporate pitchman.
Need a new take on this atomic sunscreen, Coop.
Sunscreen. They sell underground living facilities.
It's advertising, Coop. Try not to think too hard.
Just because you're 100 feet underground doesn't mean you've escaped the sun's harmful UV rays. Give your skin a warm grin with atomic sunscreen. This doesn't work, right? I mean, it's just lotion. Are we done yet?
9/11. About 10 days after 9/11, I went through the Pentagon and I saw Secretary Rumsfeld and Deputy Secretary Wolfowitz. I went downstairs just to say hello to some of the people on the Joint Staff who used to work for me. And one of the generals called me in. He said, "Sir, you got to come in. You got to come in and talk to me a second." I said, "Well, you're too busy." He said, No. He says, "We've made the decision. We're going to war with Iraq." This was on or about the 20th of September. I said, "We're going to war with Iraq. Why?" He said, "I don't know." He said, "I guess they don't know what else to do." So I said, well, did they find some information connecting Saddam to Al-Qaeda? He said, no. He says, there's nothing new that way. They've just made the decision to go to war with Iraq.
This is the Beard of Doom rocket? This is my weapon? I will be a laughingstock. All my friends have got nuclear weapons, even Ahmadinejad, and he looks like a snitch on Miami Vice. Where is the head of my nuclear program and procurer of women? Where is nuclear Nadal? You had Nadal executed, Supreme Leader. Why did I do that? Supreme Leader. Nadal. We are just months away from refining weapons-grade uranium, and we are set to test the missile next week. It is too round on the top. It needs to be pointy. Round is not scary. Pointy is scary. This will put a smile on the faces of the enemy. They will think that it is a huge robot's dildo flying towards them.
2, 1.
And we have liftoff. Go, New Shepard, go.
Please make sure to stock up, as I'm sure you're already doing, with supplies, food, clothing, and more. But above all, stock up on patience, on faith in the justice of our cause, and in confidence in our victory. There's a reason we named this operation Rising Lion, a people that rises up as a lioness, and as a lion lifts himself up. We are going to achieve many great accomplishments, thanks to you, and thanks to our heroic soldiers.
At Crusader Industries, we believe that our values are more than a standard of behavior. They're our legacy and our inspiration. We don't defend them through sheer size or firepower alone. We ally ourselves with those who share our core beliefs. We make sure the real heroes make it to where they're needed most. At Crusader Industries, we know that lifting up others benefits us all.
You have two political parties, the Republicans and the Democrats, that are simply, those two parties are simply opposite wings of the same bird, and they're giving the bird to the American people.
She's still telling me what to do. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Are we rolling tape on that?
There you go. Yeah. Just a one-finger victory salute.
We're thrilled to be speaking live with two brave American astronauts who are making history, joining us during their spacewalk outside the International Space Station. And this is the first time for a woman outside of the space station.
First of all, we don't want to take too much credit because there have been many other female spacewalkers before us. This is just the first time that there have been two women outside at the same time.
Look there, the friend of the temple. Floarak, the council's message was absolute. I'm not welcome here. I must speak with the Grand Master. He's in session. They all are. Another day, perhaps. King Philip disagrees. Damn you, man. Why you're not rotting in a cell at this moment, I cannot fathom.
We are betrayed. Draw your swords, men. Defend the temple. Not you, brother. I have a different task for you. Come with me.
King Philip's moving faster than we expected.
Other hands at work here.
No.
The assassins.
Assassins? I thought the Mongol Khan broke their power decades ago.
The assassins are far older than Masonic. Their anarchic delusions are virulent as the plague, and less easily eradicated. We will not prevail this night, but if you make haste, we may yet save our order. Go to the temple. Take the sword and the book. Hide them. They must not fall into the assassin's hands.
So here's another Templar's chapel here in Bonn. You know, in just any French village, any French town you go, you find Templar stuff. And they are the general. They are no warrior monks. They're not warriors at all. They're backstabbers. So this is very old. Jacques de Molay, the last Grand Master of the Templars, he got
He made a sermon here of being a Knights Templar, what it says, in 1265. And this is very old. This is probably from the 11th century or something here. And yeah, it's in a bad condition, it seems. There's no tourists here. Tourists they're not interested in it. An ancient Templar's chapel. I showed it on the map. So they are today's colonels and generals. You know, they do, and we do the fighting for them. They don't fight. Of course they don't. They don't know, you know, forget it about the, you know, the Templars. They were great guys and all that. Forget about it. Just forget about it. They were bastards.
My favorite part is the family that it brings. Something that I've definitely gained from DMLA is friendships. Whether it's my brothers, moms from Eastern Star, and probably more importantly, dads from Masonry.
I've gotten a lot of experience talking to people, being able to go out in the world and communicate with anyone. I didn't have that skill before I joined DMLA.
Being involved as an adult leader with DMLA has taught me a lot about me, a lot about how to help other people.
Advisors do help a lot, and they're there for you even when you make the biggest mistakes.
Certainly, being a DMLA advisor has helped me to relate to young people. I still have a lot to learn, that's for sure.
Some of the advisors, those are all men who shape me. Those are all men who I still now go to for advice, and I still now look up to, because if it weren't for them, I wouldn't have made it this far.
Getting involved in youth orders is part of your Masonic education. You are there helping the kids, but even more so, you're actually helping yourself.
I would encourage every Mason to devote some time and effort to assisting our youth groups. There's nothing more fulfilling than successfully mentoring a young person.
So Templars are just second, third, fourth sons up to 20 from the aristocracy. They were as poor as a rat because everything went to the firstborn son, the primogeniture. But this is why we find 2 Templar guys on 1 horse.
You, Maester Hinky, stand here accused of using the dark magic known as analytics. This here knucklehead has blasphemed against the ways of the old school.
This heretic would have me rest my blade. I say, run them all.
I mean, this notion that losing leads to winning. I mean, come on.
This guy used his sorcery to force me to make bad trade and give him all my draft picks.
I don't know about that, Marty.
These analytics fools would have you believe the Earth is round. Do you see a curve anywhere? I mean, I'm just asking questions.
And now, with the hot hand, Sir Evan Turner is going to light Iggy on fire from a mid-range distance. Commence the long two.
Not clutch.
You know, the guillotine's probably more efficient.
Man, shut up, witch. All right, let's try again to light the heretic on fire.
Not today, Luddite.
It's Barack Obama.
A tan horse, really?
That's right. It is I, Barack Obama, 44th President of the realm, defender of rational thought and the use of data to make informed...
Show us your birth certificate!
I'll be taking the numbers man with me.
Thanks, Obama. But where will we go?
To a place far away, where innovation and new ideas are welcome. The MIT Sloan Sports Analytics Conference.
Simply put, this country and this world benefit from your commitment to Jesuit principles, to being men.
They're not. See, I hear this every time when I visit the Templars Commandery. You remember that when I went to the when they almost smashed my head in? Same thing. So this is Pharaoh's aristocracy. That's all. It's from a pyramid. It's a 2-dimensional pyramid. So all of this here is a wall of the Templars Commandery here in Bonn. And I really like to have a look inside, you know, what's going on here. So this is where the last Grand Master, Jacques de Molay, he became a Templar in here. And Bonn is in Burgundy, very, very rich. And the Burgundy people, they come from Burgunderholm, which is called now Bornholm. It's an island between Sweden and Finland. It's very posh, hitchhiking doesn't work. It's all about wine and money. I just talked to an Irish guy who works in the restaurant, the Prince of Monaco. He served the Prince of Monaco.
How did your men lose him? How can someone bring so much disruption to our cause? We have tried to stop him, but many lives have been claimed by his stealing. He fights like no man. People say he moves like an angel of death, carrying fury on his wings. Nonsense. These are just stories. Such myths do not exist. This man is costing us a fortune to contain. We have to stop him, or everything we work for will be destroyed.
How do we restrain this angel of yours? Raise an army against one man?
Nine! There's nothing we can do. Never reinforcements. This was a disaster. Our soldiers cannot be taken out. Enough!
So he seeks to stop us, to claim our treasure for himself. Pure madness.
Let him die. Every angel can fall. Why do you not join us, brother? Is there something wrong?
So one more time, the Templars Commandery. It's not very far from Troyes, where it all started. Where the last Grand Master who got burned in Paris, where he became a Templar, yeah, in Bonn. Nobody's here. It's all, you know, no tourists. They go to the, yeah, well, I really like to go over the wall and have a look, eh? This is why they gather, you know, the Freemasons who come out of the Templars. It's Pharaoh's aristocracy, guys. Very old, 1,000 years old. So the Templars Commandery is just there, behind the houses there. And this is a Templars chapel, yeah. De la Grace. And this is where they killed the last dragon of France by Saint George. Yeah, Saint George. So the guy who, it was the knight Lagardelle who killed the last dragon of France. So here's the entrance of the Templars chapel. And here you see, this is, you know, the Templars V, and this is what they found, you know, where they entered the big pyramid. You can still see it where the entrance is, where they found the Templars treasure of their ancestors, which they didn't give a part to the French king, so he was double angry because of that. And so this means you're, and here, I don't know what this is, well, it looks very phallic, you know, with, horrible. The Templar homos, they must have liked that, right? So that means you enter the realm of Egypt. If you go in here.
What a proud, special, happy day this is in the history of Bass Pro Shop. Every person that's been a part of this project, they put their heart into this, and I just salute them, and I thank them all.
This truly is a dream come true. Welcome, everybody, to your new Bass Pro Shop.
All right, let's see you in Bass Pro Shop, outdoor world.
You're entering the realm. Like, it's like the TYRANNiCAL here. Everything has a function. Beautiful here. Look at that. Wow. They're always in these remote areas, you know. Not a little door. Hello, somebody here? Oh, it's open. Oh, that's good. Oh. And ring the bell. Maybe not. Oh, not much to see. The sun hieroglyph. Yeah. There's the Templar's cross. There you go. So here you can see the sun hieroglyph everywhere. How many times? 8 times. Octagon, yeah. So here you see the seal of Solomon. It's also the concept of 4 with the 4 blue lines around there. So that's nothing to do with the Jews. It's the King Solomon of the Jews. The M sign everywhere from Mason. They say it's Maria, but with all the pharaonic colors, red for where they come from, the old world order, white for Mason in the middle, and it was a wall blue around it. So through a war, they got to rule.
The wisdom of our creed is revealed through these words. We work in the dark to serve the light. We are assassins. Nothing is true. Everything is permitted.
We are not merely transferring power from one administration to another or from one party to another, but we are transferring power from Washington, D.C. and giving it back to you, the people.
And we give it back to you, the people. To the people.
Can you see by the dawn's early
You are as precious to me as you were to your own mother and father. I swore to them that I would protect you, and I haven't.
The mayor's gonna dump him in the spring. Really? Mm-hmm. But he's a hero, a war hero. This is peacetime.
You think this can last? There's a storm coming, Mr. Wayne.
For too long, a small group in our nation's capital has reaped the rewards of government, while the people have borne the cost.
The oppressors of generations who have kept you down with myths of opportunity.
The establishment protected itself, but not the citizens of our country.
And do you accept the resignation of all of these liars, of all the corrupt?
You and your friends better batten down the hatches. Because when it hits, you're all gonna wonder how you ever thought you could live so large and leave so little for the rest of us.
What does that mean? Rise.
When Gotham is ashes, you have my permission to die.
That all changes starting right here and right now, because this moment is your moment. It belongs to you.
None shall interfere. Do as you please.
January 20th, 2017 will be remembered as the day the people became the rulers of this nation again. The United States of America.
It will endure.
Real Templars chapel, eh? It's everywhere. There's so many. There's always a remote place somewhere. Whereas here it's in the pretty much south middle. Always very simple little chapels like this. Templars. I don't see much Templar symbols. Oh. So this is not Templars, and it's for the pilgrims, for the eyes. And this is where the dragon used to hide, apparently. Somewhere in there. Hello, dragon. So he can cure your eyes, apparently. Oi, hello, Swissy. You're here too? Of course you are, eh? Now look, all these little cabins here. So look here, you can see that symbol. That's Isis with a little boy doing a Freemason sign here. Look at that again. Yeah, there you go. Oh, that's Horus, of course. And Isis, the queen. And the dragon here, it's Seth. So here you see IHS, Isis, Horus, and Seth. And this dragon is the same dragon as in the lake of Loch Ness.
See, but they'll only tell you that it stands for Isus Hominum Salvator, but it does also stand for Isis, Horus, and Set, of course.
Which is, of course, the devil coming from another realm, as the Boleskine house of Alistair Crowley it happens to be just at the border of the, just looking down at the lake of Loch Ness. Yeah. So look at this altar here. Oh, there's a altar, huh? Oh no. So this Horus matrix, it's the same thing as the big cross here. And this is a for sacrifice, it's sable. And the sacrifice is here. Because the symbol of Jesus on the cross is mankind, man on a cross. You can't move your hand. You're not allowed to defend yourself. You could just move your head and say, no, darling, yes, darling, or yes, Mr. President, no, Mr. Judge, and never do it again. So this here, the cross on the floor, is the same as this here. It's all the Horus matrix. The whole bloody thing is the Horus matrix.
Always thought you couldn't hair press on nails because of all the active things you do? Well, if you're ready for beautiful, natural-looking, easy-to-apply nails, pre-colored in 7 luscious hues, just...
Today, the news of Hulk Hogan's passing has reached the highest office in the nation. President Donald Trump has issued a formal statement from the White House on X, mourning the loss of the man he calls a great friend.
When they took a shot at my hero, and they tried to kill the next president of the United States, enough was enough. And I said, let Trumpomania run wild, brother.
Accompanied by a classic photo of the two arm wrestling, the president's statement reads, "We lost a great friend today, the Hulkster. Hulk Hogan was MAGA all the way. Strong, tough, smart, but with the biggest heart. He gave an absolutely electric speech at the Republican National Convention that was one of the highlights of the entire week.
Let Trumpomania rule again. Let Trumpomania make America great again."
Our impulses are being redirected. We are living in an artificially induced state of consciousness that resembles sleep.
You'd better listen up, because you're living in a historical land. Ellis Island, the Empire State Building, the World Trade Center. When you live in a place, you have a habit to take it all for granted. Well, don't take your city for granted anymore. Go out and see your sights, because Cactus Jack is coming to your town, boys, and the sights ain't gonna be there anymore. I'm gonna send your city crumbling down.
As an entertainer, I tried to stay out of politics. But after everything that's happened to our country over the past 4 years, and everything that happened last weekend, I can no longer stay silent.
At this time, the Slickster, a key in the African dream, and a big boss man. Gentlemen, is this the match you wanted all along, or are you going to continue your terrorist attacks with one goal in mind, to defeat, or should I say demolish, the Twin Towers?
Oh, yeah, Mean Gene, I can still feel the pain when that cold steel bit, and Hulk Hogan, that pain won't stop until the Twin Towers come crumbling down.
Get ready to read all these words on this page without making a mistake. Look at the letter at the end and remember the sound it makes. Get ready. Kite. Yes, kite. Get ready. Kick. Yes, kick. Get ready. Steal. Yes, steal. Get ready. Plane. Yes, plane. Get ready. Must. Yes, must.
Now, Mean Gene, just listen to me. Forget the cigars, the coffee, the bacon and eggs, and especially those blueberry pancakes.
Hacker, that second time night got in.
The movement was begun 8 months ago by a small group of scientists who discovered, quite by accident, these signals being sent through.
He's giving me a headache. Yeah, tell me about it. Let's took the hackers months to figure out how to do this.
You can be part of the action. Nigmatech brings the joy of 3D entertainment into your living room. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you my vision. The box in every home in America, and one day the world.
In local news, Edward Nygma's 3D box has become the rage of Gotham. Rioting occurred last night at electronic stores which were sold out. There's hardly a home without the Nygmatech box. Critics have claimed the box turns Gothamites into zombies, but Edward Nygma just shrugs. That's what they said when TV was invented.
An old quote from Donald Trump, talking about a large-scale terror attack 19 months before 9/11. In his 2000 book, The America We Deserve, Trump wrote, "I really am convinced we're in danger of the sort of terrorist attacks that will make the bombing of the 1993 Trade Center look like little kids playing with firecrackers."
Bowl. Why wouldn't it be with the cereal? I don't know. What else do you use a bowl for? I don't know. Satan's baby. You ever shot one of these suckers? No.
We are following some breaking news as it relates to the Trump presidency. I want to transition your screen to give you a live look at the White House as we're learning a massive $550 billion trade deal has been reached with Japan. President Donald Trump confirming this information, adding it will create hundreds of thousands of jobs. I want to provide the latest remarks from the commander-in-chief as relates to this breaking news. I'm going to drop the banner so we can read it together. Take a look at your screen. President Donald Trump saying, quote, "We just completed a massive deal with Japan, perhaps the largest deal ever made. Japan will invest at my direction $550 billion into the United States, which will receive 90% of the profits. This deal will create hundreds of thousands of jobs. There has never been anything like it.
Is it sweet? That's an understatement.
That doesn't look like a bowl.
Nah, it's way better. There's a reason this warning label says 18 or older. This sucker is filled with 150 grains of black powder, aka gunpowder. Strap 2 of these together, and it's bigger than an M80. 5 of them? We've got ourselves a stick of dynamite.
You want to kill that thing with fireworks.
Do you have a better idea?
Yeah, 11.
Against that thing, she's gonna need some backup. Oh my god.
Caitlin Clark and her Indiana Fever teammates had one of the most epic reactions you could imagine when they got their first look at the brand new Stranger Things jerseys. And honestly, the moment felt like a scene straight out of the show itself. The vibe in the locker room instantly shifted from casual pre-practice chatter to full-on excitement the second those black and red designs were revealed. The jerseys, inspired by the hit series and the fictional town of Hawkins, Indiana, tied perfectly into the Fever's own roots in Indianapolis. The design is bold, dark tones accented with vibrant red details, Stranger Things logos woven into the fabric, and an overall aesthetic that feels like you're stepping into another dimension. It's moody, it's cinematic, and it's definitely not your average game day uniform. When the squad saw them, you could hear the gasps, the laughs, and the "no way" reactions all at once. Caitlin herself was cheesing ear to ear, holding the jersey up and joking about how things are definitely getting stranger around Gamebridge Fieldhouse.
Welcome to 4G. Don't touch my hammer.
Okay. All right. This is the new version. This is 5G.
No, now it's 4G.
It's just 5G. So
this is 5G, I think.
It's a 5G.
What you talking about?
Just a 5G. Just say a 5. Just say 5G.
All aboard the 5G train. How many bloody G's are there?
I'll take it from here.
Okay.
All right, we're gonna lose Ozzy. Bring in the new one.
Marker.
Ozzy's in the background, guys.
What?
He's in the background.
Is this the way out?
The new buyback program. You buy it now, we buy it back when it's time to upgrade. It's Fever, 6G Fever.
What's a 6G?
What the f***'s a beaver?
I don't know. Kind of looks like a girl.
Trump also mentioned the mastermind of the attack, writing, quote, "One day, we're told that a shadowy figure with no fixed address named Osama bin Laden is public enemy number one, and U.S. jet fighters lay waste to his camp in Afghanistan. He escapes back under some rock, and a few news cycles later, it's on to a new enemy and a new crisis."
You have an entire generation that has access to an addictive, numbing chemical called dopamine through social media and cell phones as they're going through the high stress. They don't have the coping mechanisms to deal with stress. So when significant stress starts to show up in their lives, they're not turning to a person, they're turning to social media, they're turning to these things which offer temporary relief. We know, the science is clear, we know that people who spend more time on Facebook suffer higher rates of depression than people who spend less time on Facebook. That's a problem. That's an addiction. If you're sitting in a meeting with people you're supposed to be listening to and speaking, and you put your phone on the table, you're just not that important to me. So you have an addicted generation that doesn't have the skill set to ask for help. Combined with the fact that they're so good at Facebook and Instagram, they're good at putting filters on everything. So they're good at showing you how smart and strong they are. These kids who commit suicide, you go look at their Instagrams, you would have no clue that they were depressed.
People look like they have a much better life than they really do. People are posting pictures of when they're really happy. They're modifying those pictures to be better looking. People basically seem they're way better looking than they basically really are, and they're way happier seeming than they really are. So if you look at everyone on Instagram, you might think, oh, all these happy, beautiful people, and I'm not that good looking and I'm not happy, so I must suck. Some of the happiest seeming people, actually some of the saddest people in reality.
Social media isn't real, but you don't ever see real life, the 99% of our lives, the behind the scenes, the unglamorous, unfiltered, day-to-day, bland normality. And you end up comparing your behind the scenes to other people's fake highlight reel and using others as a mirror or benchmark for how you should look, how successful you should be, or how you should live. You'll become your happiest self when you stop putting pressure on yourself to be more like someone else.
And they know that this causes depression. They're injecting things into your head that you didn't ask for.
Do you not think an angel rides in the whirlwind and directs the storm? This work continues. The story goes on. And an angel still rides in the whirlwind and directs this storm. God bless you all. God bless America.
Get ready to read all these words on this page without making a mistake. Look at the letter at the end and remember the sound it makes. Get ready? Yes, Get ready to read this word the fast way. Get ready. Yes, sound it out. Get ready. Sound it out. Get ready. What word? Yes, kid. Boys and girls, sound this word out. Get ready. What word? Seal. Yes, seal. Read these words the fast way. Get ready. Yes, play. Get ready. Yes, must. Let's read these words the fast way without making a mistake. Get ready. Yes, hike. Get ready. Yes, kick. Get ready. Yes, seal. Get ready. Yes, play. Get ready. Yes, must. Stay
We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order, a world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations. When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN's founders.
You will never see it coming. You think I'm joking?
And fire came down from God out of heaven and devoured them. And the devil that deceived them was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone, where the beast and the false prophet are, and shall be tormented day and night forever and ever.
Another element suggesting controlled demolitions are the so-called squibs, the puffs of debris that were noticed on the sides of both towers as the collapses took place. Squibs occur in controlled demolitions when concrete is forcefully expelled from the building by the explosions occurring inside.
The individual explosions that I noticed 20 and 30 and 40 stories below the collapsing structure, those are what we demolitions guys call squibs. And that's another characteristic that seems to be evident.
This is clearly not broken glass. Glass fragments from a window would not even be visible from such a distance. These are high-speed ejections of concrete and other solid debris, which can only be explained by a powerful explosion having occurred nearby. There is even one case in which the expulsion of material, and possibly a human being, takes place before the collapse has begun. Question. Given that what we see is clearly not glass from a broken window, but concrete and other debris, can you explain what caused the squibs observed 30 or 40 floors below the level of collapse?
Explosions that I noticed 20 and 30 and 40 stories below the collapsing structure.
And naysayers tend to say, well, that's just air being blown out the windows. I mean, it doesn't really work to say it's just air pressure. And I've estimated these are coming out faster than 100 miles an hour.
We're backed by 9/11 family members and other concerned citizens who are calling for an independent, unbiased investigation.
As an engineer, I have 3 degrees in engineering. I signed that petition for architects and engineers for 9/11 truth some time ago because the American people absolutely need the truth of 9/11.
I'm a family member trying to find out the answers to the murder of 3,000 plus people.
It's distressing for everyone to come to terms with this evidence, but we must pursue the truth wherever it leads. Look at the evidence and decide for yourself.
First, we've got population. Now, the world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%.
Counterterrorism forecaster Marvin Citron authored a report in 1994 for the Department of Defense.
We predicted a plane could have crashed into the Pentagon. That's about as specific as you can be.
Noel Cook is a former Pentagon counterterrorism chief. Just this June, he authored a report warning that an attack of this kind was imminent.
In a bizarre coincidence, 2 Pentagon employees counted as missing were actually passengers on the terrorist planes. One that hit the Pentagon, the other the World Trade Center. 9:15 after the second plane hits the World Trade Center, the Pentagon puts together a crisis action team to assess any additional threats.
So the Pentagon sucked in the airplane.
New world order. A new world order.
A new world order.
New world order.
New world order.
A new world order.
A new world order.
New world order. New world order. And a new world order.
A new world order.
New world order.
New world order.
New world order.
A new world order. Need for new world order.
A new world order.
So we didn't see any more parts or any pieces of the airplane.
It appears that a bomb was detonated at the heliport right next to the Pentagon.
Something started to fire with some explosion at the Pentagon not long after the 2 World Trade Centers were hit.
Hey, I just heard another explosion of some sort. Now, it could be a secondary explosion here from something happening, but we just heard a loud pop.
I have exposure to the very most cutting edge AI. And I think people should be really concerned about it. I keep sounding the alarm bell, but until people see like robots going down the street killing people, like they don't know how to react, because it seems so ethereal. AI is a rare case where I think we need to be proactive in regulation instead of reactive. Because I think by the time we're reactive in AI regulation, it's too late. AI is a fundamental existential risk for human civilization. And I don't think people fully appreciate that.
Just as you were coming to me, it seemed to be on the east of here. I can't tell what it is. It might be something that's secondary to this because we had a number of small explosions after the fire occurred.
I have heard a total of 3 booms, that initial boom, and then I heard 3 less large booms, but booms nonetheless. Have you heard the same?
Yes, I did. As far as the currency devaluations, I've been complaining about that for a long time. And I believe that we will all eventually, and probably very much sooner than a lot of people understand or think, we will be all at a level playing field.
You can hear me. We just heard another explosion down at the Pentagon building. We just heard another loud explosion. We did hear 2 lesser explosions. The first one came about 10 minutes after the initial big explosion that we saw. And then there was another one, I would say, and this is a rough estimate here, about a half hour later. Now, again, those explosions, though, they were different than that original explosion. The original explosion, as we felt it and heard it and saw the huge cloud, that was quite a strong explosion. These other ones, you heard it, but then when you looked at the area, you didn't see anything that was different.
Pentagon. The day before 9/11, Secretary of Defense Donald Rumsfeld declared war. Not on foreign terrorists. He said money wasted by the military poses a serious threat. Rumsfeld promised change, but the next day, the world changed. The military cannot account for 25% of what it already spends.
According to some estimates, we cannot track $2.3 trillion in transactions.
2.3 trillion with a T. That's $8,000 for every man, woman, and child in America. To understand how the Pentagon can lose track of trillions.
From my close-up inspection, there's no evidence of a plane having crashed anywhere near the Pentagon. The only site is the actual site of the building that's crashed in. And as I said, the only pieces left that you can see are small enough that you could pick up in your hand. There are no large tail sections, wing sections, a fuselage, nothing like that anywhere around, which would indicate that the entire plane crashed into the side of the Pentagon and then caused the side to collapse. Now, even though if you look at the pictures of the Pentagon, you see that the floors have all collapsed. That didn't happen immediately. It wasn't until almost about 45 minutes later that the structure was weakened enough that all of the floors collapsed.
Donald, do you ever discuss sex with your daughter?
No.
You do not?
No.
You've never
I
had
have a feeling we're not going to hear.
Another embarrassing video from a 2006 Howard Stern show has surfaced. It shows Trump alongside daughter Ivanka and son Don Jr. joking about being a sexual predator.
You know about sexual predators and things like that. I mean,
you are one.
All right, I was going to say that. But, it's true.
I'm always looking for new ideas that I can turn into shows. And this one, my brother Jonathan put this together. It stars my nephew Wesley. His son Wesley has been looking for love for years now, and he's been unable to find it so far. But tonight, that changes. Tonight, everything changes for good.
First came The Bachelor, then The Bachelorette, and now...
Hi, I'm Wesley, the baby bachelor.
The Baby Bachelor. One Bachelorette makes a strong first impression.
Hi, I'm Ashley. I'm 26, and I'm a dental hygienist. Hi. Hi. Is it nice? I'm Ashley. I'd like to get the big one. The purple over there. Okay. It's a twinkle little star, how I wonder where we are. Wesley's like a little Billy Joel. Wesley, I'd like some time with you.
Many people in America have become very frustrated because, we have a republic-type government, representative-type government, and they keep sending people to Washington to change things, and nothing ever changes. So they've become pretty irritated, and that's why the outsiders have done relatively well in this setting. And I think just anger and frustration with not being able to change the course of the country is what is driving people at this stage.
You stood alongside him again and again in debates. What was it like to stand alongside him? He wasn't always polite about you.
Well, I recognize that in a political atmosphere, people do and say things. Politicians in general do what is politically expedient, not necessarily what is right.
But you're now backing this man to be president who you say is doing what's expedient, not what's right.
Because I look at what the consequences are of a brokered convention. If we have a brokered convention, millions of Americans will be disillusioned. They will abandon the political world altogether, go back into their shell, and we will end up with political parties controlling things as they always have. And that would be a pretty awful outcome.
You've warned of the danger of this so-called brokered convention, in other words, a sort of party fix to block Mr. Trump. What do you fear might happen now? What do you fear that the party establishment are thinking of doing?
Well, they won't be able to do anything if he's able to get the 1,237 delegates. That'll be the end of the story. The people will have prevailed. themselves if that is the case. If that is not the case, then, all the dirty tricks that have been available throughout the years will be available to them. They may make all kinds of deals and make sure that he never gets the 1,237 delegates.
I'm going to vote blue.
Vote for who you want. This is a free dictatorship.
And what are the personal qualities that you think make him fit to be leader of your country?
I think he's very strong. He's willing to stand up for what he believes in. He's not politically correct. I personally believe political correctness is destroying this nation. And the First Amendment, freedom of speech, freedom of expression, things like that are being forgotten about. And I think, he helps to solidify those kinds of concepts once again.
I mean, there's one reason you may have hesitations about Mr. Trump, wasn't there? I think in one debate he described you as pathological.
Yeah.
You a very forgiving man.
Absolutely. In the heat of the political contest, when you get worried about people, if you're a traditional political type, you start attacking them. I understand that. I don't engage in that myself, but I understand why other people do.
Not only did he say pathological, I think in the same paragraph he referred to paedophiles. I mean, it's an extraordinary statement to make against a colleague in his own party, wasn't it?
Again, I completely understand it. It's in the heat of battle. He's admitted that. It's not something that I need to dwell on.
So Donald Trump insults you during the heat of a presidential debate, and you think this man should have his finger on the nuclear trigger?
I do not sit there and hold those grudges forever, particularly knowing what motivated them.
And is it with some regret that you are no longer a candidate?
I certainly would have preferred, to do it myself, but that clearly was not what was resonating with the American people. They feel that they need, much more of a bravado, and, who am I to say that they're wrong?
I don't think these girls have anything on me, plus I use my secret weapon. Okay, Wesley, I have a big surprise for you. Are you ready? Ooh. What's that? Do you like cookies? Yeah. Yeah, you do. Do you want one?
Yeah.
Go ahead and grab one.
I'm gonna do a big wall like. Where did this guy come from? What the heck is Try doing? Chat's hot.
Feels good to be here, get another opportunity. Hopefully things will go better this time. Whoa, little man. You gotta play it cool. No splash. No splash, little dude. Excuse me, guys. If I just come in here.
Just listen up.
What's up?
It would be really disappointing. Not really. But it would depend on what was inside the magazine.
If she posed, it would be fine. But if they put her picture
Yeah, but
on,
it depends on what goes inside the magazine.
well, see, that's her gripe. That's this girl's gripe.
And
People
there was
assume there'll be nude photos.
Right, you do assume that with
Misleading.
Playboy.
Okay,
But if there weren't, you wouldn't have an issue with it then. If they were using her to.
I don't think Ivanka would do that inside the magazine, although she does have a very nice figure. I've said that if Ivanka weren't my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her.
Stop it. Oh, it's so weird. Stop. You know what? You are sick.
I know,
Yeah.
isn't it terrible?
Yeah.
You're known for saying
Is that
outrageous
terrible?
things,
It's
Mr.
like-
Trump.
Who are you, Woody Allen?
My daughter Sophie and I are competing in the Miss Ultimate Sexy Baby Nevada pageant. Sexy hands, sexy feet, sexy feet, sexy feet. Sexy baby.
Sexy feet. Talk dirty to me.
Dirty to me. Sexy baby. Sexy baby. You are such a sexy baby. I'm proud of you, proud of you.
At this point of the show, the host would do something fun and spontaneous to show how we're all just ordinary people, like ordering pizza for everyone.
But since we already got food at the Globes, we thought we'd mix it up and try something new. So roll up your sleeves, Hollywood, because you're all getting flu shots! You know you wore a sleeveless gown for a reason.
Hey, shot. Excuse me, ma'am. You're definitely going to want to get the flow.
These nurses are all licensed professionals straight from the right aid in Echo Park.
And look, if you're an anti-vaxxer, just put a napkin over your head and we'll skip you.
You're welcome, you guys.
It costs 50 grand, you guys. You're welcome.
Our lives are becoming more transparent, just inevitably. It's just pulling us. It'll destroy relationships. It'll cost time, and it'll cost money, and it'll make your life worse.
If you've messaged anybody this week, would you share with us the names of the people you've messaged?
No.
Many of sporting events and celebration with your friends, but you were quick to find new ways to stay connected and active while remaining focused on finishing your education. You proved to the entire world that you can set your mind to something important, push through and succeed, showing all of us that you, our next generation, already possess the strength and resilience of the American spirit.
A future that Ernest Cline, the writer of the book, envisioned. I was very careful with Ernie collaborating with me every step of the way to be able to find the movie narrative inside this dense forest of Ernie's profound imagination.
The Oasis being the ultimate toy box with all the toys in the world, and then playing that with one of the greatest filmmakers of all time. It results in just amazing action and such a fun adventure.
Ernest Cline is such a visionary, and I think has seen the future before any of us possibly could even imagine it.
This is the courtyard where it all happened. It's now open to the public again. There's lots of people coming here, placing flowers, cards, things like that. And the university is already making some changes. They're replacing the grass where Charlie Kirk was speaking with pavers. And there are several petitions online asking the school to make this into a permanent memorial for Charlie Kirk.
And that is a wrap on this movie. As always, this is your host, Truth Seeker here. And this is another edition of the Truth Zone. And everything surrounding the Charlie Kirk incident is becoming more and more clear that this was indeed a ritual, because it literally looks like they are tearing down a movie set. Can anyone explain the trap door? Can anyone explain that? Right under Charlie Kirk's feet. Again, I'm not pretending to be a genius or anything like that, but something is really fishy with all of this. It really is, everything surrounding this. And this kind of mirrors other events throughout the years. The Sandy event. I'm just talking about a beach algorithm. That event. I mean, look what happened after that. It's rinse and repeat with these events, because what happens is they tear down the crime scenes, the scenes of the scripts, the movie sets, whatever you want to call them. This is what these people do over and over and over again. The Tops situation. And there are many other examples of this. I can keep going on and on and on, but I'm trying my best to speak in code, because obviously if I, come right out and mention what I want to mention on said platform, I could get the channel removed, or I could have the video taken down. And I'm doing my best to bring the truth out to the best of my ability, no matter what. And honestly, everything surrounding this incident with Charlie Kirk, all of the things going on, this really seems like another ritual that was done, because again, it happened 3 days after a blood moon. That alone should tell you all that you need to know. And all of the 33 connections surrounding this that I covered in a show that you can go back and watch. And it really seems as if they are going to use this as a way to come after the remaining freedom that we have, the remaining free speech that. After a 33-hour manhunt, the patsy in the public execution of Charlie Kirk has been apprehended.
This is the courtyard where it all happened. It's now open to the public again.
As ways to bring in or further bring in their solution. It is all about order out of chaos with these people. This is what this all boils down to at the end of the day. It is all order out of chaos. They have to bring in the problem, and then they react and bring in their solution. And their solution is to completely remove what little freedom of speech that we have left. It's by no coincidence that Charlie shares a birthday with George. Oh yeah, George. I mean, come on. Again, this is all a script that you are watching, because even look at this right here. Senate Republican pushes Charlie Kirk Act to stop government-funded propaganda. Wow, so convenient how they are going to push all of these different things after said incident. So do you see how this works? This is very reminiscent of when they introduced the Patriot Act too, right? After a certain event. And pay attention to what Candace Owens said in one of her recent shows.
Those of you who think that you are going to replace Charlie Kirk, okay? Kings are born. You don't just get to depose and tell us that we're going to follow this individual, okay? I'm one of the Masons of Turning Point USA. I'm one of the Masons of Turning Point USA.
Wow, she referred to herself as a Mason. One of the Masons of Turning Point USA. And I questioned this over on Twitter. And of course, you had people defending her over that comment saying, oh, it means that she's a builder. She was one of the founding people or whatever else. No, she's telling you exactly what she's about. Charlie Kirk is part of the club, or was part of the club, or whatever. And so is Candace Owens. Now, the character of Charlie Kirk obviously is gone, done. He's out of the picture. But come on, you can go and look and find many examples of him flashing their symbols. Same with Candace Owens, because all of these people are characters on the world stage. Same goes for Donald Trump. Same goes for even Jimmy Kimmel, and the list goes on. They know exactly what they are doing. They are using all of these things that are happening currently, that have happened after the Charlie Kirk incident. They are using all of this as a way to come after the remaining freedom that we have. That's why it involved the neck. Even with the George Floyd thing, it involved the neck. They are coming for the neck. They are coming for the remaining freedom that we have. That's why he was wearing a shirt that said freedom when that happened. Oh yeah, and it's very interesting he was wearing the color white, because in professional wrestling, I don't know if you all knew this or not, whenever they wore the color white, it's because they were scheduled to bleed. Yeah. Oh yeah. So again, you tell me what is going on, but it's plain as day that they are using all of this stuff that happened recently with Charlie as a way to silence the remaining free speech that we have.
Well, Jimmy Kimmel was fired because he had bad ratings more than anything else. And he said a horrible thing about a great gentleman known as Charlie Kirk. And Jimmy Kimmel is not a talented person. He had very bad ratings, and they should have fired him a long time ago. So, you know, you can call that free speech or not. He was fired for lack of talent.
Because even look at this. You have people on the quote unquote right, like this shill named Terrence K. Williams, a big Trump MAGA guy. He's a shill. He's cringe. He's very cringe. He's not funny. He's supposed to be a comedian, but he's very cringe because he pushes the same talking points like all of these other puppets. Right here, he says, free speech. I'm old enough to remember when President Trump was banned from every platform and Jimmy Kimmel laughed and celebrated. And this is just one of many examples. You have all of these people now celebrating the left now being removed off of stuff. After you had the left years ago celebrate all of this. You see how that works? It's the left versus right, right versus left. It's all a show. And what they have done with this incident is they have roped all of these people on the quote unquote right into this, where they are calling for people to be doxxed. They are calling for people to be fired over comments. They are calling for people to be removed and everything else. This is how this works. This is how this works. They needed a event to where now the other side is calling for the same thing as the other side. This is how all of this works. And people have once again taken the bait. They have fallen for this hook, line, and sinker. Every single time, it's the same thing over and over and over and over. And I can only imagine what else is to come out of this. I can only imagine what other dark things they have planned, because they really do have some dark things planned here in the near future. And here's even another post over on Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it, mentioning this. Conservatives are now resurfacing a post from Jimmy Kimmel back when sitting U.S. President Donald Trump was censored on Twitter, openly mocking and celebrating the restriction of his free speech. What goes around comes around. Again, this is how all of this works. This is all about problem, reaction, solution, as I mentioned earlier. This is all about order out of chaos. These people have roped in the other side, and now the other side is calling for the same thing as the other side that they are so heavily against. This is how this stuff works every single time. It is chaos magic. That's what it is. That's what all of this boils down to. And then, of course, here's even a post from Donald Trump saying, great news for America. The ratings challenged Jimmy Kimmel's show, and his show is canceled. Congratulations to ABC for finally having the courage to do what had to be done. You know, the very same ABC that was once against Trump, too. You see how all of that works? I mean, come on. Disney owns ABC, people. Disney. Disney is pure evil. So come on. That alone should tell you what is going on here. That alone should tell you. And something else I found very bizarre is if you look right here on Charlie Kirk's wife, her hand, you will notice a very weird mark, and it looks almost similar to the mark of Saturn. Maybe it's not, but this would also tie into, you know, the whole Golden Age stuff, because Golden Age is tied into Saturn, Saturnalia, or the worship of Satan. And she has also been spotted wearing a very interesting necklace. And when you do a little bit of research on what that cross is associated with, it is associated with the Order of Malta. I mean, come on. That alone should tell you all that you need to know. And here's a fun fact for you. Charlie Kirk's wife goes way back with Trump. She was involved with, beauty pageants and stuff like that. I mean, come on. If people can't see what is going on and how all of this is a show, I don't know what more to say. Again, what are the odds that there was a trap door right under where Charlie Kirk was? What are the odds that they are already paving over the area that is supposed to be a crime scene, right? What are the odds of all of this? That's what I'm asking each and every one of you, because from my vantage point, from my viewpoint, from all of the research, from all of the things that I have looked into, this really seems like yet another ritual, another one of their PSYOPs that they love to do over and over and over. As always, I want to hear from each and every one of you. What do you all think about all of this? God bless each and every one of you. And as always, I hope more and more people begin to wake up to what is really going on.
Lots of strange things happening on the world stage. And to me, it's unbelievable how people have such poor discernment and the inability to see through the obvious. And that first off gets into Erica Kirk's video that she posted online with Charlie Kirk, supposedly Charlie Kirk, as you see here, with the golden looking hand. And also I'm going to get into Donald Trump. And this is obviously AI that we see here. This is something I've covered going back to 2012. And again, in 2014 with Barack Obama. I already posted that video. You can see the video on my channel currently. But first off, let's get on topic with Erica Kirk. And again, the video that she posted online, which is very creepy, doesn't look natural in any which way visually. And her voice itself, it just doesn't pass the smell test. Let's get right to it.
Oh, I love you. I love you. I know. I love you. I love you.
And one thing I'll mention is kind of weird. Why would someone be filming over her shoulder? Besides the fact that she posted this online on social media, why would someone be hovering over her shoulder filming this? This is just very, very bizarre. It's like a bad movie. Let's continue.
God bless you.
And pulling the heartstrings with the God bless you. Let's continue. And very bizarre, the hand color compared to her hands, holding this medallion with the American flag and the eagle. And again, taking a look at the hand itself, I mean, really off. And the G, of course, when it comes to Freemasonry, like I pointed out many times, really have to point out basically golden hand, golden ring, how they match so well. But again, the G, I pointed this out many times over the years. When it comes to the alphabet, A through Z's 1 through 26. When you flip the alphabet over again, you land on G, it's a 33. So this is a Masonic coded 33 in plain sight. Once again, with all these news stories that I cover, the 33 is always prevalent. Now moving on to Donald Trump. In this video, I seen it after it was first released. I've been busy working on other material that I posted on, of course, YouTube and on my Rumble channel. Very, very fake. But one thing I want to point out first, a lot of people in truth do not get this. They are not faking with just AI. They're using doubles as well. They're using multiple facets, multiple different ways to fake these presidents. And Donald Trump, as I've shown before over the years, with the 3 wives, in every single one, these Donald Trumps are different. Like I pointed out, let's get a little bit of a close-up here with the so-called current Trump. And look at that chin. Look at the eyebrows compared to this one in the middle with Marla Maples. Chin is completely different. Look at that giant chin and this very small chin. The ears are different. The nose is different. The eyebrows are obviously completely different. And obviously this one doesn't match as well. All 3 are different. So I really have to emphasize to people out there, there's channels out there just talking about the AI aspect. They're not giving you the full truth, the real truth. Just like NASA and the astronauts, at times they use CGI like I've shown in video productions, and sometimes they're hanging by harnesses. They're not just using one way to fool people. And that gets in this video with Trump. Let's take a look here. And of course, for those that have seen it, this is all regarding Charlie Kirk. And just take a look here and I'll break it all down. And there's some keywords that are spoken during this that gives you a hint of what this is all about. Let's get to it.
To my great fellow Americans, I am filled with grief and anger at the heinous assassination of Charlie Kirk on a college campus in Utah. Charlie inspired millions, and tonight, all who knew him and loved him are united in shock and horror. Charlie was a patriot who devoted his life to the cause of open debate and the country that he loved so much, the United States of America. He fought for liberty, democracy, justice, and the American people. He's a martyr for truth and freedom, and there's never been anyone who was so respected by youth. Charlie was also a man of deep, deep faith.
Trump, or the supposed Trump, the AI Trump, says Charlie was someone of deep, deep faith, as in deep, deep fake, what we're watching here. And for those who have noticed, the hand movement, the head, everything, the face, it looks artificial. That's because it is. Just looks off. And also the skin color, as I move this video forward, I'm going to get a better vantage point. I'm going to get a little bit of a close-up here. Just take a look at the skin color here. And also just the hand, the wrist, this hand as well, everything looks artificial. But again, I really have to emphasize, look at the skin color change here. Just look at how it's off. People might claim shadows or this or that, but it just doesn't look right because it's not right. Very artificial. And that's the problem with artificial intelligence. They have not refined it perfectly. And I have to really emphasize this point. It's very hard to fake real. And this is obviously deep fake. As I move this around, just take a look at the hands, the movement. Everything about this video is off. Take a look a little bit more. But in conclusion, in this very fake world that so many are invested in, they can't go where the truth is. They're afraid to be called crazy. But this is a crazy world we're living in. And that's the reality of this very bizarre Twilight Zone world where AI is taken over at every angle. And with the duality aspect of truth and lies, they must give us the truth with all the lies of this world. With Elon Musk back in 2014, where he warns about artificial intelligence. And that's the big picture. Like it states in the Bible, how there will be lying wonders, false miracles. And I believe AI will be implemented for that to bring an Antichrist. Take a listen to Elon Musk here. Definitely no hero, as we all know, but definitely putting the truth in plain sight with revelation of the method. Take a listen.
I mean, with artificial intelligence, we are summoning the demon. You know those stories where there's the guy with the pentagram and the holy water, and he's like, yeah, sure, you can control the demon. Didn't work out.
Continuation of John, chapter 9, verse 25. Whereas once I was blind, now I can see. Now I can see.
Hey, internet friends. I've been holding off, waiting for the dust to settle, but I think it's finally time. Here's what the media won't tell you about Charlie Kirk and his enemies. On September 10th,
Yeah, so I got onto tab here. What is playing in the background here? Oh, this fucking video. No, that's not what I'm trying to do here. Let me see. Go over to IG really quick here because I had a couple posts saved. I don't know how good my sound's coming in, but well, look at that. I don't even have to go to. Hold on a second.
Mold. Did you pay attention to what was actually happening? First of all, let's just say that if you get shot with a 30-06, you're going to be decapitated. So he definitely was not shot with a sniper rifle. But have you paid attention to what goes on with the chair? Apparently he's sitting in some sort of AI super chair that just starts glitching out. Kind of like how in Grand Theft Auto 5, where you drive up to someone and, pop them on the street and they start glitching out and flying everywhere and ragdolling. It's literally a glitch. But how could this be possible? That's because it's AI. I'm not saying he didn't pull off some stunt in real life. He had a squib and he popped it. Because if you pay attention, the blood comes out of his shirt, not out of his neck. And then, of course, when they're fleeing the crime scene and they're carrying the body to the van, there's not a single drop of blood on the pavement. You have to pay attention to that as well. See the AI super chair? I wonder what's going on with that. Oh, it must be the bullet's power that made the chair flip in 20 different directions and defy physics, right? That's what happened. It wasn't AI enhanced. No, it couldn't be. There's no possible way. Come on, guys. He was a 33rd degree Freemason. The symbolism is everywhere. If you actually pay attention to what happened, he did not actually get shot. He popped a squib. Entertainment only, I made everything up. So when you saw the video of Charlie Kirk,
Why did they all want to know if I was going to this event? I said there was no way. we are going to this event now. There's a 0% chance. First and foremost, why are you saying, but anybody can go to it? You just buy a ticket to the event. Why did they all want to know if I was going to this event? I said, there is no way we are going to this event now. There's a 0% chance. First and foremost, why are you saying, but anybody can go to it? You just buy a ticket to the event. Why did they all want to know if I was going to this event?
Okay, this is going to sound insane, but you need you to go with me on this because the math checks out. On October 30th, 2025, 6.2 billion people are going to experience a cosmic consciousness shift simultaneously, and I can prove it with simple math. First, you need to know about the Earth's heartbeat, the Schumann resonance, 7.83 hertz. That's the frequency that the Earth vibrates at. Here's the crazy part. When you are in a deep meditative state, your brain literally syncs with 7.83 hertz. We are literally synced to the Earth's frequencies. But on October 30th, something unprecedented is about to happen. 3 massive events are converging. Number 1, the sun is at its solar maximum, the most active it's been in 20 years. Solar flares, magnetic pole reversals, the works. Number 2, an interstellar object called thru reaches its closest point to the sun that exact day. We're talking about a city-sized object from another star system. And number 3, the Earth's magnetic field is at its absolute weakest point in the cycle. Here's where the math gets wild. When these 3 things hit at once, the Earth's frequency of 7.83 hertz could be amplified 10 times or more. So instead of 7.83 hertz, you're looking at 78 hertz hitting your brain. Your brain will have no choice but to sync up. That's just how basic entrainment works. It's neuroscience. Here's the math that'll blow your mind. Research shows that you need a square root of 1% of the population to create global change. For 8 billion people, that's 90,000 minds synchronizing at the same time. But with this electromagnetic disruption, we're looking at 2 billion people syncing up simultaneously. That's 22,000 times what we need for critical mass. The mathematics of consciousness says that this will create a global field effect. Your normal consciousness operates at about a 20 hertz normal bandwidth. That's your everyday beta brainwaves. But when Earth's frequency explodes, your brain goes to 100 hertz bandwidth or more. That means you'll access gamma waves, 40 hertz to 100 hertz, which is the frequency associated with higher consciousness, enlightenment, and even psychic abilities. So let's break down the numbers. 6.2 billion people, that's 76% of humanity, will be affected by this electromagnetic shift. Of those, about 365 million have natural electromagnetic sensitivities like me. And roughly 43 million people are predicted to achieve a genuine transcendent state during the peak hours. This isn't woo-woo stuff. This is just math based on electromagnetic fields affecting human consciousness. The peak moment happens exactly at 11:44 a.m. Universal Time on October 30th, 2025. That's when the interstellar object reaches its closest point to the sun, but the effects will build for hours before and hours after. From 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Universal Time, you're looking at 12 hours of peak electromagnetic disruption. Fair warning, technology is going to have a bad day. GPS systems could be down for 12 plus hours. Power grids will be super stressed. Communication networks will be disrupted, but here's the trade-off. While technology fails, human consciousness soars. It's almost as if the universe is telling us to disconnect from our devices and reconnect with each other and our inner awareness. So how do you prepare for this? Start meditating daily. Even just 10 minutes will help entrain your brain and adapt to frequency changes. Spend time in nature. It helps ground your electromagnetic system. Stock up on essentials in case technology fails for the day. And most importantly, tell people about this. The more people who are prepared, the smoother the transition will be. Look, I know this sounds crazy, but the mathematics don't lie. 3, massive cosmic events converging on one day, affecting Earth's magnetic fields in a way we've never seen. If even half of what the math predicts will happen happens, October 30th, 2025 will be the day humanity remembers as the day that we evolved. Not gradually over millennia, but together, consciously in a single day. We have 45 days to prepare for the most significant consciousness event in human history. Share this with everyone you know. Start your preparations now, because ready or not, October 30th, 11:44 a.m., 6.2 billion minds are going to sync up for the first time ever. And the mathematics says you'll never be the same. So like, comment, share, and as always, follow for more mind-bending content.
What are your thoughts on the new vaccines that they're pushing out now?
I mean, I think that going and getting a COVID-19 booster is now reserved for the mentally ill and those who are making a political statement. I've seen this. I'm not going to listen to anything Secretary Kennedy says. I'm going to go get a COVID-19 booster. There is nothing, and we document this very, very carefully in our book. There's nothing in the COVID-19 vaccine program, starting with the fact they don't work. They don't prevent infection and transmission. The entire COVID-19 vaccine program is a fraud. So I think the American people are going to have to wake up to this reality. Right. The public needs to understand that the pharmaceutical companies purchase all of this advertising not actually to sell pharmaceutical products. If you have an ailment, you can go to your doctor. Your doctor is aware of the pharmacopoeia for your ailment. It's to buy media influence. It's so guys like him aren't allowed to go on the mainstream media to raise questions, to propose conversations about this, because if he does, the principal advertising purchaser is going to call the news director and say, get him off. So I hope it's not too confusing of a point. They're not selling pharmaceutical products. They're buying the narrative.
What are your thoughts on the new vaccines that they're pushing out now?
I mean, I think that going and getting a COVID-19 booster is now reserved for the mentally ill.
Yo, Cosmic Family, did y'all see this? It states NASA claims the sun is waking up, and they have...
What you are seeing right now is the result of the COVID-19 Pfizer double vaccinated placenta during pregnancy here in Toronto, Ontario. This was a client of my company's, and we are looking right now at a placenta that looks like it's been totally degenerated. It's been eaten by the vaccine. It's so thin, it's so gray, it's paper thin. We have never seen anything like this in our life. It looks almost like part of the placenta was eaten alive, and part of it is so thick, it's so thin. This has never been seen in our lives. And
y'all gonna keep arguing with me about Democrats, or are y'all ready to listen?
You damn rude, eh?
In the back of my mind, you died. And I didn't even...
Donald Trump is the last president. He's showing us that we are the currency. We don't need the system. All this shit was an illusion.
You know why? Because Donald Trump is actually a Luciferian white hat. And a Luciferian white hat, they don't take sides. They play both sides, meaning that he's basically neutral. He is also Agent 47. He's the 47th president. And he was actually the 45th president. When you look at the numerical sequence of 45 and 47, you get 9/11. So that means that the next tower moment that we're going to have is going to happen on Donald Trump's watch, because he's also a Gemini. You got Gemini and Uranus all the way up into the year of 2033. Then you have Saturn right now retrograde, which is the embodiment of karmic retribution. We're going to see a 9/11 event in the future. It's going to happen. But you actually got 4 Donald Trumps. The real one is inside Chinae Mountain in the deep underground military bunker systems.
So he got clones. Well, everybody got clones in the industry. Huh?
Yep. He is using the restoration process as a catalyst for the next revolution. He's not doing it because he wants to. He's doing it because he has to. Because Donald Trump is controlled by tall whites. And the tall whites are actually the Pleiadians. And Pleiadians, they're giving him access through the intergalactic.
Why did they all want to know if I was going to this?
Thing is, you can see it playing out plain as day. I'm about to say something that's going to sound borderline.
Hey guys, welcome back. It's Joseph. Charlie Kirk's Memorial Day announced as September 21st. Members of Congress and other political figures will hold a memorial service and prayer vigil this day at 6 p.m. near the White House and United States Capitol. And there's other sources saying the funeral is also going to be September 21st at State Farm Stadium in Phoenix, Arizona. All right. So what I want to point out here, Charlie Kirk's birthday is October 14th, 1993. September 21st is going to be 1,666 weeks after he was born. So there's your 666. But it's also going to be 11,666 days after he was born. Are you kidding me, guys? 1,666 weeks, 1,666 days. Are you kidding me? Guys, you got to share this everywhere you can. And here he is throwing up the 666 hand sign. And this is on top of what I've already pointed out, how he allegedly died 6 years, 66 days after the first episode of The Charlie Kirk Show. Or you could say he died 322 weeks from the first episode of The Charlie Kirk Show. 322, the number of skull and bones. Now also, September 21st is going to be 3 weeks and 3 days from his birthday. And we've already pointed out tons of 33s, like the 33-hour manhunt, and the suspect was arrested 33 days from Charlie Kirk's birthday. And in gematria, neck equals 33. The shirt that says freedom, freedom equals 33. Of course, masonry equals 33, the highest degree of the Scottish Rite, the 33rd degree. He was shot 33 days from the Utah Valley University president's birthday. His initials are CK. C equals 3, K equals 11. 3 times 11 is 33. He had the 3 hats with the 47 there. 4 plus 7 is 11. 11 times 3 is 33. It was also 33 weeks after the inauguration of Trump. Of course, he's the big Trump guy. But yeah, I think I got it all there. But yeah, the big part, they caught the suspect after 33 hours, and it was 33 days from Kirk's birthday. And yeah, so September 21st is going to be 3 weeks and 3 days from Kirk's birthday. And also, just a few more key points here. It happened in Orem, Utah, which is a perfect match to killing in 3 out of the 4 base ciphers, including that 115, Charles Kirk 115, Orem, Utah 115, killing 115, Freemasons and Masonic, they're 115, Assassin is also 115, and then Orem, Utah is also 101, like Assassin 101. And don't forget, it was also 88 days from Trump's birthday. Turning Point USA is 88, Trump is 88, the Republican Party is also 88, and it was also 159 months after Turning Point USA was founded, and 1 year, 59 days after Butler, Donald Trump equals 159. And also, Charles James Kirk, 163 and 64, like STAGED. Shooting is 163 and 64. But anyways, guys, I just had to put this out. Unless this changes, I mean, you never know. They could change things after the fact. And for the record, I haven't seen any of the big sources cover this yet, like CNN or Fox, just, you know, News Nation and some other news sources. But hopefully this is accurate. I mean, they've been known to change things after the fact. But yeah, if this is true, if they're actually going to have his memorial and funeral on September 21st, 1666 weeks after he was born and 11666 days after he was born, that's absolutely mind-blowing. So anyways, guys, just had to share that information with you. And that is it for this one. Please like, comment, subscribe, share. Any support is very much appreciated. And as always, keep looking up. We are living in the biblical end of days. Jesus is coming very soon. I can't wait. And I'll see you guys on the next video. God bless.
Jesus is coming, baby. All right, it's almost that time. I think maybe I'll go for 19 more minutes so I could wrap it up at 3:33 for that symbolic 33, so that people know that I'm in on the whole thing, that I helped orchestrate the whole PSYOP, because I am indeed a CIA Freemason. So, all right, what's next here?
What we're going to talk about here is just a very, 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 very brief overview of, because I actually want to speak to people who are aligned with Charlie Kirk, or who believe what I'm doing is insensitive and callous and off the mark, and I don't know what I'm talking about, and how dare I, and all of that. So let's just shift gears a little bit. And this message is kind of intended, like, these are anomalies, these are oddities, these are bizarre coincidences that I'm jotting down as clues. So what I want to do is share my screen, and I've got to show you these bizarre posts on Instagram. Remember, you know them by their fruit. She loves to wear this ring that has the letter G. And there's another ring that looks like Charlie's. This is on her right hand. It looks to be a right hand. I might have messed that up from time to time. So I don't believe that's a wedding ring. And of course, Charlie is always wearing a gold ring that some people believe is a Masonic ring. And his bodyguard is wearing the identical ring. It's kind of weird. Like, you're a married man and you would have the same ring as your bodyguard on your ring finger, your married ring finger. That's another oddity, friends. So here's the G and the flashy gold and diamonds. Hey, you love gold and diamonds? Go do it. Picture. But she's showing two basketballs very clearly with the label Wilson. Now I look at everything for clues. Columbo would do as well. You look at the logos, you look at the colors. I'm not drawing that conclusion, but here you go. Here's her ring. She's got her GG wearing a pair of tennis shoes with the one eye symbolism. Friends, I don't need to tell you, I don't think, that the one eye symbolism is also the all-knowing Illuminati. Why would you do that unless you're sending a signal? Now, this is creepy. She's so private that she didn't want to show any videos of her wedding, but she's showing a video of herself collecting vials of blood. A lot of vials of blood. And if you play the video, which I'll link for you in an upcoming, just go to her Instagram page and look at it. Maybe you can find things I didn't. She shows herself compiling these vials of blood and putting them in a plastic bag because it's for her wellness. A Substacker, Sage Hannah, I will warn you with quite vulgar language frequently, but I did see this and I thought it was worth sharing. So here's a picture. There's no booking ID. Normally there is in the corner, you know, like the ID, it has the booking ID and the location.
I love you. I know. I love you. I love you. God bless you. love you. I know. I love you. I love you. God bless you.
All right, guys. I'm starting to smell some stink in this. All right. I mean, it really got me at first. You know, it looks so real. I mean, it looks so real. But I do know that Hollywood uses squibs. They used a squib in the Trump hoax, the Trump assassination hoax. And here's what's got me convinced after watching the video from this specific angle, that there's something very stinky about Charlie Kirk's t-shirt. And I want you to watch. I'm going to pay close attention. See where he bends forward right there. Let me back it up a little bit. You can see right there, there's like, it's, you know what it looks to me? Like he's got a little mini fan blowing air to poof out his shirt. Now, what really got me thinking about this is Alex Jones. I saw a video of Alex Jones covering this. And I mean, he went over and over of the shot happening and the blood going out his neck and how easily he was talking about it. You know, it wasn't really like, I don't know, it didn't affect him like I would think if he was, you know, supposedly friends with this Charlie Kirk guy. But the big one, you know, as Alex Jones said, he mentioned this shirt thing, right? But what he said it was body armor, and that the bullet deflected off the body armor and shot up in his neck. Okay. And that got me really thinking, because Jones is a spinster. He's always right in the middle of any kind of fucking bullshit, trying to spin it. And this idea that Charlie Kirk had body armor underneath that t-shirt is false. You would have definitely noticed body armor under his shirt. Like I said, this looks like air is, you know, somehow injected under his shirt. You know how, and you can see real hoax. I don't know. Speed. Here we go. Okay, never mind. Found it. 0.25%. Now maybe I can get it paused. See that black box in his shirt? That is a black box in his fucking shirt right there. Tell me that is not. Tell me that is not a black box. It's a little black box in his fucking shirt, bro. You fucking seen it. It's a squib, some sort of a squib device. I mean, right there, you see it. Right there, you see it. Come on, tell me. Wait, I win fucking the internet tonight. Tell me I don't win the internet tonight with discovering this anomaly. What the fuck is that in his shirt? Why is this t-shirt bulging out like that? It's definitely not body armor like fucking Alex Jones. Fuck, this is unreal, man. I'm telling you, it got me because it looks so real. But we got to remember Hollywood makes shit look real. They probably fucking practiced this out extensively. You know, this was done several times in a studio before it was done live. And that, my friend, is a squib box in his shirt. And we'll go further. See, that shirt is still bulging out. It's got to be grainy, right? God, can't have any 4K footage these days, can we? Fuck. Fucking events are always grainy, but you can see that t-shirt bulging funny. I want to get where they shoot him. Okay. 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 You see the t-shirt? Do the air thing? Look where the blood comes from. Out of the t-shirt. You see that? Out of the t-shirt. You can see it happen. He popped a squib, bro. He did. He popped a squib. Holy fuck. They got me at first. Yeah, that looks fake as fuck. Yep, that looks fake as fuck. Fake. I'm not buying it. I fucking showed you the squib. Okay. Holy fuck. All right, now I'm convinced this is fake. See, I'm sitting here thinking, fucking, there was no shooter on the road. There was no shooter at all, and that's how he got away. This is a distraction for what they're doing in Gaza City. That's the only thing that makes sense. Why would they shoot their own if they could fake it? You know what I mean? If they can fake it, they're going to fake it. They're not just going to kill their own people. This makes me think, yeah, this is something to stoke political anger while creating a smoke shield for their what they're doing in Gaza City right now, which is just killing everything that moves. Karen fucking Deed.
First Sunday gathering at Annunciation Catholic Church since the tragic shooting Wednesday morning. 2 children killed, 8-year-old Fletcher Merkel and 10-year-old Harper Moisky. 15 other children and 3 adults also hurt in that shooting. The gunman fired through the windows and never went inside, and then took their own life behind the church. Tonight, we are learning another victim will now need surgery. You may remember young Weston Halsney, a young boy who described what happened to our Rob Olson right after that shooting. And our Babs Santos joins us live from Annunciation Church tonight. And Babs, doctors say Weston has a bullet fragment that is in his neck.
That's right, Kelsey. We saw it in that interview on Wednesday, and now this weekend, Weston's loved ones have launched a fundraiser to pay for the cost of that surgery, as well as trauma counseling and support for his immediate family members.
It was super scary.
Wednesday, August 27th.
It was very scary.
Is a day South Minneapolis will never forget. Children wounded physically and mentally when a shooter opened fire through the windows of a...
So get this, y'all. This video dropped 2 weeks ago. This video dropped just days before the Kirk PSYOP, right? And this kid was talking about thinking he has a bullet fragment in his neck, right? So, and go figure, it's at a Catholic school, right? Erica Kirk, the chick with 3 Ks in her name, of course, conveniently, is Catholic. Go figure.
Annunciation Church during the school day mass.
So we really didn't know what to do. We just got in
Or at least claims to be, right? The character, whatever. You get the point.
the pews and he shot through the stained glass windows.
Just after the shooting, Fox 9 spoke with survivor, 10-year-old Weston Halsey.
Yeah, I'm just like confused kind of because I never thought it would happen and it just happened. So like, just kind of crazy.
During the interview, Weston showed us an injury from the shooting.
I don't even know what it's from. Kind of looks like debris or something.
Now Weston knows. On a new online fundraiser, his family says since the interview, it was discovered that Weston will need surgery to remove a bullet fragment lodged dangerously close to his neck's carotid artery. Weston's family has asked the community for prayers and donations. Meanwhile, in another update,
My friend got shot in the back. He's in the hospital right now.
last week, Weston told Fox 9 about the heroic actions of his friend Victor.
And then my friend Victor, he was like laying on top of me, like making sure I was safe, and he got hit. So that was really brave of him.
And now we know Victor is out of the hospital and recovering with family, according to this fundraiser. Victor's family says it's overwhelmed and thankful for more than $300,000 in donations received. Back to Weston, that fundraiser has now collected about $35,000 of a $40,000 goal. So clearly this community is just so much trying to help these victims. You can also see behind me the outpouring of support with all of those flowers outside of the church. Kelsey, back to you in studio.
The memorial just continues to grow tonight. Thank you, Babs.
Hi, I'm Maria Bray with 5 Eyewitness News. Outside of the Minnesota State Capitol, in light of the Annunciation shooting, Governor Tim Walz announced he is calling for a special session on gun laws. He says the state owes it to students to prioritize their safety. An assault rifle ban is one topic. Walz says he's putting out a package that would not infringe on Second Amendment rights. The governor says calls are being made to lawmakers to determine when they can return to the Capitol for the special session. Take a listen.
They get to make a decision. Are they going to stand in the way of having an honest debate? Now, we might not get it done in there, but the idea that you would not even come back and make a debate, I think is untenable. So my intention is to call this thing and to get them in there, because I don't understand where the partisanship is in this. There should be a bipartisan agreement to pass some of these things.
Can you hear me now? How about now? Can you hear me now? All right, we're at 3 hours and 33 minutes. So I think that's about that, folks. Scripted realm. A lot of people are worshiping a Satanist. It is true. That is called the Maha Bone Shake right there. The Mason firmly grasps the right hand of a fellow. Thumbs of both hands are interlaced. It's all a joke, folks. It's all a joke. Nothing to worry about, though. Nothing to worry about, folks. How do I...
Store, the paradigm of absolute control. And that's why we're just out here doing simple things, pointing out that we're meant to be in nature and be natural. And this is where we find the source that God made to transcend the New World Order. And that's why they want to try to keep us out of it.
I'm angry. I've had enough of these people. They're a bunch of Christian murderous scum. They're on giant death factories keeping babies alive and selling their body parts. What more do you need to know about these people? I go out and face these scum. They literally crawl out from under rocks. They have green looking skin and they run around screaming, we love Satan, we wanna eat babies. I have them on video. Hillary's in the creepy weird sick stuff, man. She sleeps in the same room with that creepy weird woman whose mother wears a hood over her head. What the hell? That woman number one is ugly. Imagine how bad she smells, man. I'm told her and Obama just stink. Obama and Hillary both smell like sulfur. Literal vampire pot and the goblins are hobbling round coming after us. My spirit gets close to that evil and I feel it go. We're such self-centered crap that we don't even notice hell itself rising up against us. Millions upon it, people of the very worst type, and I'm so pissed. We're gonna stab your daughter at the mall. We're gonna stab your wife, your son. We're gonna stab you with a butcher knife, and then the police chief is gonna say, Muslims, oh, they're so good, oh, they're so sweet.
I was watching Fox News as I worked out this morning.
It's been real, y'all. It's been really real. I get the fuck out of here. It's 1:55 in the AM. You know what that means. It's time to hit the sack. So I hope y'all had a fun time. And that's a wrap. You gotta exit the conspiracy loop from time to time. You know what I mean? You gotta exit the conspiracy.
There it is, there it is, there it is. I know. I can't seem to get over to the left, honey. I'll try next time. We'll get out of this jam in a minute. Kids, Big Ben. Kids. We know Big Ben. Parliament. Look, kids, forget it. It's amazing. I cannot get left. There's Big Ben, kids. Parliament.
I'll see y'all soon on the next one. I don't know when that'll be, but it'll be at some point. So be well. Love your peoples next to you if you got them. If all you got's yourself, then love yourself. And make sure you use lots of oil because, you know, you don't want to get like dry skin and maybe get some cuts there. I love you guys. I'll see you soon. Peace. Man, the psyoptics are high.